Frank here. He's got his own billiard room.
Yes, it's what do you call it, Kramer? The billiard room? No. The name. The billiard? Not the billiards. It was... Come on, Rudy. Come on. We call it the place to be. The place to be. Yes, it's the place to be. Then I shall be there.
Now, it's time. Live and in living color. The Grandy Man can.
Time to play the game.
Well, you always left me satisfied and smiling, so...
That's what she said.
Why do I want this?
Yeah.
Because I want to make bank, bro. I want to get ass. I want to drive a Range Rover.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is now time for the Place to Be Podcast. And now your hosts, Justin Rosero and Scott Criscolo.
You got what I need, but you say he just a friend, and you say he just a friend. Oh, baby.
Place to Be Nation, welcome to another great episode of the Place to Be Podcast. I am your co-host, Justin Rosero. And joining me, as always, is the man who, for the last 73 years, has always been just a friend. That is my PIC, Scott Criscolo. Scott, how you doing?
Good evening, Mr. Rosero, my PIC. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to number 74 of the Place to Be Podcast.
Getting old.
And yeah, I know. Getting up there, huh? Waiting for the big century mark. Only I think we did the calculations that it will not make it to the end of the year. It'll probably be before that, but still, we are getting close to the big C note. Never thought we'd actually. Well, I knew we would. I just never thought. You think about when it would happen, and then it's going to get here before you know it. I can't believe it. So. But tonight it is number 74, and that is, of course, since we are midweek, you know what that means. It is our cornucopia of headlines. And let me tell you, we got a lot tonight. We got a lot tonight. Let's go over the menu real quick for you. We will briefly, because frankly it bored me to tears, and I really don't want to talk about it again too much. This week's Raw and SmackDowns, they of course emanated from south of the border, and obviously SmackDown hasn't aired yet, but one special thing happened. Raw, to be honest with you, I know you probably didn't watch much of it. You had other viewing you had other viewing priorities on Monday night, and you really didn't miss much, in my opinion.
Well,
we will preview Vengeance.
I happened to get the taped show, so I had, I knew what was going to happen. I read, and then I listened to a podcast review, so I'm pretty familiar with what happened. I just didn't see it with my own eyes. Yeah. Well, probably listening to it was more exciting than watching it. Let's put it that way. Most likely.
We will, of course, preview Vengeance, which is this Sunday, live from the AT&T Center in San Antonio, Texas. It's almost like a bump on the road to Survivor Series. It seems like.
Oh, what a
we
waste
just pass
of a
over this and move on.
No, it's a real waste. I can't imagine them. Well, we'll talk about it in a minute. Okay.
Yeah. But I never thought we would talk this much about TNA tonight. And
we get a lot.
Usually when you and I talk a lot about TNA, it's usually not good.
This is good and bad. It was bad originally, but I think there's some good now. And the nation has sounded off, so we get a lot of comments we're going to read during the show from you guys.
Yes. So we have a lot of TNA news. I will, of course, recap this past week's episode of Lucha Libre USA Masked Warriors. And I enjoyed the show up until the end, and then I got really, really angry. And I'll tell you why. My PSC doesn't know why yet, so it's a pleasant surprise for him.
You've been building this rant up for 2 days, so I'm
yes,
curious what
so
it is.
very excited about it. Well, it has to do with our guy, and I hope you agree with me. And then we have some comments from a superstar about Lucha Libre as well. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, we will have our myriad of news and notes from around wrestling, brought to you by our good friends at WrestleChat.net. And a lot of it has to do with what you and I seem to talk about every week, and that is the upcoming network, which, again, as we've mentioned, will be launching in the spring, as far as I know. It'll probably be pushed back to the fall.
There is a new update on it tonight was released, so we'll talk about it when we get there.
Okay. We, of course, will have our Place to Be Nation Asshole of the Week. Last week it was a 3-way tie. We'll see if somebody pulls ahead this week. Then, of course, we will have our Major League update. The World Series begins tonight, and I have a rant on that as well. You may not agree with me on this, but if I refer to your beloved Bronx Bombers, maybe you will. But I have a rant about the World Series.
It's actually going on. Yeah, it's going on right now. It's 2-2, bottom of the 6th. St. Louis has 1 on and 1 out.
Yeah, they were up 2-0, and then Mike Napoli hit a 2-run homer to tie it. So, we'll get to my rant on that. It's probably not as big a deal as the Lucha Libre, but I'm a little irked about something. It finally torqued me off this year. But and then of course we'll continue the rants of the Red Sox, and kicking them where it counts. And then of course our NFL Week 7 picks to conclude. And then we have a special moment for me at the end of the broadcast.
And I do want to say right now, actually, I was accosted by Rob Houston at the YMCA yesterday, and of course gave us the props about the show, but then he laid into me about the Red Sox stuff. He says I need to back off, and he was very angry that I ignored the place to be asshole of the week votes, because he said that's his favorite segment, and I ignored them all and voted for the Red Sox. He was not happy. So you
knew someone was going to. You knew it. I hope you expected.
But he didn't deny any of it. He laughed. He couldn't deny it. He's just tired of hearing about it. So, but Rob, I'm going to let Scott talk about it this week. I'm going to lay off, maybe.
Okay. Because some stuff is surfaced over the last couple of days that just boggles the mind. It really does. Yeah. All right. So why don't we get down to business? Why don't we quickly go over Raw and SmackDown from this past week? Again, my PIC, too busy watching his beloved Gangrene, so you didn't actually watch it. But again, you didn't really have to, to be honest with you. And, I don't know. Do you think it's a knock on taped shows? Has there ever been a really great taped, not counting 90s, not counting the 90s?
No, recently. Well, not recently, but within the last 4 years, I'd say. When
they overseas ones. Has there ever been a really good one?
The England one with the John Cena, Shawn Michaels hour match.
Yes. Then there was the one. Where were they when Regal and Tajiri won the tag titles?
Japan. That was a good one too. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So there have been a couple. This one was not.
And the Japan one with JBL and the Godzilla doll and all that stuff. That was pretty good. And
that's right. I do remember that. Yeah.
And I always enjoyed the tribute to the troop stuff as well, but those weren't really meant in storyline.
Yeah, exactly. No, those are always great. And I don't know. Are they doing one this year?
I read that they were, but last year wasn't really like a live show, right? It was just like a 1 hour thing on NBC.
Yeah, and they didn't do it overseas. They did it at Fort Benning in North Carolina. They didn't do it in Afghanistan.
Yeah, we'll see. I saw something about it a couple weeks ago. I didn't really look into it, but I know they are planning something. I don't know if it's going to be on NBC again or not.
Right. So why don't we quickly go over our two shows? Raw overall was, it advanced a lot of storylines. A match has been changed for Vengeance because of these two shows, and a match has been added and replaced. A match has replaced the tag match. Yep. The tag match was originally for the championships. Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston, a.k.a. Air Boom, against Dolph Ziggler and Jack Swagger. But that match has been scrapped because apparently Evan Bourne's stinger has not completely shaken off him yet. So.
Yeah, because he wasn't on either show this week.
No.
And then, he must obviously still be hurting.
Yeah. A stinger is nothing serious, but you want to make sure it's totally out of your system before you get hit in the neck area again.
No one's going to be watching this pay-per-view anyway, so okay.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're like me, who's probably going to watch it for free at our friend's house. I'm probably going to more talk about other stuff with my friends than comic books and stuff than probably watch the show anyway.
Yeah, we're not even going to go to Picasso's for this one.
No, what sucks is you and I are huge fans of the Vengeance brand.
Mm-hmm.
I did it on my radio show this week, talked about the history of Vengeance. And before this year, name me a bad Vengeance. Really? 06?
Yeah.
Maybe?
But even that was okay with the Edge and RVD and Cena and Sabu.
Right. But pretty much 02 through 05 are all awesome Vengeances.
Mm-hmm.
All of them.
Vengeance.
Vengeance, yes. And yeah, that's true, Vengeance. Look at that, coming up with a new word. It's like what did you say? Gollywopped? There you go. We're going to get our own FTP vocabulary. There we go. Anyway, so that match has been scrapped, and now added to the show, Dolph Ziggler will now defend his United States Championship against the Clown Prince Matt Rotella's boy toy, Zack Ryder.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to do our picks now? You want to wait? We'll do this. Well, we'll go through the spoilers first, and then we'll do our Vengeance picks. Raw overall, I mean, there was some, the matches there was a few decent matches. The main event was let me double check here. The main match, CM Punk, this is the one that really kind of is starting to irk me. CM Punk was taking on The Miz in a singles match. Of course, he and Triple H taking on Miz and R-Truth on Sunday. And now we're getting back to those Attitude Era weird kind of, nonsensical things. Marty Funkhauser there comes out. John Laurinaitis.
I will say, too, I'm starting to come around on him. I think he's been pretty good.
Well, he's going to be good. He's good in this role as a deadpan twit.
Yeah.
And he comes out and he says that the problem was they were mumbling so much. I don't know what the hell they were talking about. And it turns out that Triple H has issues with his immigration papers. Really?
Yeah,
that's the best they could do? That was stupid. I thought it was going to be more like...
P.S. Your cunt is in the sink.
Yeah, you might as well have written that down on the immigration papers and said it in a PSO el punto NSL, whatever sink is in Spanish. Anyway, what would be better is, because what people forget is the logic here. Triple H is still COO, correct? Which means he's still Funkhauser's boss.
Yep.
So what the hell is going on here? I mean, they're completely clueless right now. They've totally botched this entire storyline.
I know. What a waste. From where they were back in June with CM Punk to where they are now, it's just such a disaster. And
what happened?
I mean, Laurinaitis is fine, but yeah, the whole thing is just so convoluted. And, you could tell they obviously panicked with all this JR stuff because they realized, I guess they actually looked at, they have the minute-by-minute ratings they can look at, and as soon as JR got fired, I guess the rating tanked last week. So they obviously realized, but from what he's saying and from what I'm reading, he's not coming back. This was his, revenge here, and now he's not going to be commentating anymore.
No, and that's upsetting. He did get his revenge, though. He did he did get Michael Cole to tap out to the ankle lock, I think it was, correct? Or yeah. And so he got that revenge. That was the only other real highlight. And then at the end, John Cena went ape shit on Alberto Del Rio, hit him with the chair, hit him with the steel steps, and all sorts of stuff. So that sets up the pay-per-view for Sunday, and we'll do our picks in a minute. And it seems like these picks, in my opinion, I don't know if you agree or disagree, seem to be fairly self-explanatory.
I always seem that way, and then I always get two right, so... Just to give an update, the Cardinals have first and third with 2 outs now, and CJ Wilson's coming out, Agondo's coming in, so we'll keep you posted there.
Okay. Agondo's had a great postseason, and he was good in the he was great in the rotation for the Rangers. So
all right, so the opening segment, nothing special. I actually did watch that. I was watching it when I got home on the DVR a little bit as I was going to bed. Laurinaitis brings Ross out. Ross thinks he's going to commentate. He says, "Now you're wrestling." So then we get the opening 6-man, which of course continues the burial of John Morrison once again. Although at least he got a little bit more screen time this week, and I mean, losing to the world champions is never a bad thing. So, and Mark Henry, Christian, and Cody Rhodes defeated Sheamus, Randy Orton, and Morrison when Henry pinned Morrison clean with the world's strongest slam.
Right. Of course. Who else is going to eat the pin on that team?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And you put Henry over strong, and you let Sheamus and Christian continue their feud, and Cody and Orton continue theirs. So, made sense. Right. What did you think? You got another little vignette for your boy, Brodus Clay. It's kind of cool to see.
Yes, another vignette for our man there, Bowser. Looking forward to seeing him debut soon. Otherwise, I thought we had another Divas match, and I was kind of buzzing back and forth. So I was watching some other stuff, and so I did have
issue with this though. Backstage, they announced that the winner of the tag match later tonight got to pick the stipulation for the title match at Vengeance.
Yes.
Don't you want to put some heat on these stipulations? You're making the stipulation with the closing minutes of Raw. You don't even have time to really digest it or plug it. It's so stupid. I don't know. They really are a mess right now. They really are.
I know. It's I'm so glad that you and I get to talk about other things on our wonderful podcasts because both the major companies right now are complete disasters.
Oh, trust me, I wish we were doing another Vintage Vault sometimes instead of talking about this stuff.
Well, Friday on our next Vault, you will definitely be in. So if you can get through this one, you'll be all right because, of course, the next Vault you'll be in your full glories.
Yes,
so,
and I will be. I'm going to put the thread up just to let everyone know. Like I said, I'm going to. We're probably going to be recording this Vault on Friday again. So make sure you're ready to get your post up. I'll probably put it up early tomorrow morning.
Okay. So and it's a good one. It's one of our. It's the first time we'll be going this angle with our Vault.
Yeah. This
Friday, so it'll be fun. We'll have a few of these down the line. So.
Yep. And of course, I was talking to our friend Josh Richer, who was here tonight. He was there with me at that show. So.
Along with a few other people. I'm so looking forward to talking about that show on Friday night. It's gonna be a blast. You guys will really like it. You'll really enjoy it. Anyway, so Raw is Raw's Raw. The Mexican crowd. Listen to me. I sound like JBL.
The Orientals.
Mexican crowd. Yeah, the Orientals. The Mexico. Were they in Mexico City? I think that's where they were.
I actually laughed. I at church last week, I ran into a father of one of our good friends, and this couple in front of us, he thought their son left his hat in the pew, And he was trying to explain to me which one so I could stop them. And he says, yeah, the Orientals. I was laughing.
Who are we talking to Larry Nelson? Sergeant Slaughter.
He's like, yeah, the Oriental, the Asian 6-man tag champs just walked out.
Yeah, with the belts that never existed.
I was frozen today.
Yes,
but
frozen in time.
So that pissed me off. And then also what I didn't really enjoy about Raw was you go out of the way. They really built up this whole Mexico show. And so I was kind of expecting like a unique look. And then when I put it on DVR quick to look at it, I'm like, it looks the same as every other freaking arena. You go to Mexico, you'd think they'd do like a cool look. Maybe not do the Titantron in the aisle. Maybe make it a little bit grittier. And I don't know. I feel like they're just so antiseptic now. There's just so many different things they could do that they just don't do. And to me, that's something they really... And, Nelson Cruz cannot make a sliding catch.
Ooh.
And the Cardinals take a 3-2 lead.
Okay. Game 2 of that series tomorrow night, and then an off day Friday, and then they're in Arlington on Saturday night.
Oh, that would have been a really nice catch if he made it, but he just missed.
I'm a big Nelson Cruz fan. I like him. And you know what's funny? Like, even I remember going back to when we first watched New Year's Revolution 05, that when they were in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Even that, remember they had that cool, like the flags were down. They had like
do something
the palm trees. It was something very, very like the heritage of the country. It was very. It fit with what was going on that night. This show just seemed like, it's another arena with the flags.
Yeah, it just felt like exactly like another arena. It was just weird, and I don't know. I just feel like they have chances to do something different and make things unique and stand out, and they just don't do it sometimes. I don't get it, but
no, it pisses me off. I
don't do any tricks.
Well, you know what? We would like you to have done some tricks, because this is just a disaster.
Let's quickly run down the other matches. Punk defeated Miz.
Mm-hmm. Zack
Ryder defeated Jack Swagger, of course, putting him over for now his U.S. title match at the pay-per-view. And Dolph Ziggler beat Mason Ryan by DQ, and Mason Ryan wouldn't stop beating on him. What do you think of Mason Ryan's wild mane? Is it something that excites you?
It's very hirsute. He's even got more hair than the early Batista. Batista at least had like the pseudo flat top. This one he looks like he's gonna be Braveheart or something. It's crazy. I actually like this is the one thing on Raw that I'm actually entertained by. I'm happy that they're giving Mason Ryan some TV, some FaceTime. It's the only thing that they're taking a chance on. It's okay to take chances, guys. It's okay. We like chances. Even if they suck, at least you're trying. And that's the opposite of TNA, which we'll get to in a minute. They're taking chances and sucking at it. At least, and WWE is doing nothing. Just so stale. But at least Mason Ryan is a guy that deserves to be pushed. He's got the look. I think he's even more jacked than Batista. But I think he's got a future. I think they got to kind of give him some more of his personality.
Yeah, I think he's better suited to kind of be like this friendly. Friendly neighborhood musclehead more than like any kind of heel.
You're right. Yeah, just kind of going along, and yeah, I think that's fine. I think that'll work.
Pinky in the brain kind of thing. Now, does he have theme music?
Yes,
because with those flowing locks, I think this should be a song probably.
It's funny. I was, when I'm playing a baseball or wrestling or something on my Xbox, I usually turn the volume down. I put on my XM radio, and I was buzzing through, and I was hitting the Road Dogg Trucking channel, which is like all the truckers, and he has his own trucking show.
That's funny.
It's actually very funny. It is very funny.
Well, of course, it also invokes memories of our friend Adam Murray, but
that is true. He's dreamy. Just to let anyone know.
And I'm going to play these different songs, and many of you may sit there and think, of course, the fans of the Vintage Vaults, what song will be the official theme of Scott's biggest man crush coming in a couple of years? And I guess you can cross this one off because I would never play it and give it away. So this was in the running, though, I must say. I think this would have been a good fit for that guy.
Yes, but no, I'm expecting something good. So, all right. So there's Raw. And is there anything else we really need to talk about?
Oh, the main event, yeah. JR. Well, we talked about it quickly. JR and Cena win. After JR makes Cole tap, and of course Cena announces that they're going to have another last man standing between him and Del Rio. So
Which
Here
they
we
pumped
go.
up a total of half an hour.
Yeah, not even.
Really.
They announced it at the very end, and that's it. And then you got SmackDown to talk about it. But if you're gonna have a whatever. I don't even have the energy to talk about it.
No, it stinks. It's terrible. All right, so let's move on to the SmackDown spoiler, which I'm gonna have to search here because I don't know if you noticed this, my friend, but you put last week's spoiler link here, so I'm gonna have to go dig.
Oh yeah, huh? That's weird.
Yeah, 10/14's last week, so we'll have to we'll dig. Well, no, look, it won't take long. I'll go to Lords of Pain. They should do a pretty good job. So we'll take a look at SmackDown spoilers. They actually taped on Sunday night.
Yes.
When did Raw actually tape?
Saturday night.
Okay.
While you're looking that up, I want to ask you: did you watch the Scott Hall thing?
I did not watch the Scott Hall thing. No,
okay.
Not yet.
I set it's on again at 2 a.m. on ESPN2.
Okay, I gotta watch.
So if you want to DVR it or whatever.
Yeah, no, I definitely will DVR it.
Supposedly, it's
okay.
It's
all right,
really good.
Okay. All right, so we'll go over the spoilers. This is a very quick. I
remember it finally. I miss the old SmackDown.
One of the games. I do too. What game was that? That was one of the game opens too, right?
Oh yeah.
Shut your mouth or know your role.
The original couple they had it for.
Yeah. Oh, I want to talk a little bit about. When we get a little bit later on, I want to talk about. There've been some new details on the new WWE 12 game, and with every news bit, the game just gets better and better.
Yeah, and I meant to tell you, I'm gonna send a text to our buddy Stevie Richards. I want to have him on to talk about that game on one of our future headlines.
Yes, because just the more details, this might be the greatest wrestling game ever, if it looks right, and we'll get more into the details in a little bit. All right, this is a very quick overview of the spoilers from. Now they taped this on Sunday.
Yep, Sunday night.
So by Friday, Sunday night. So by Friday, this show is already pretty worn out. It hasn't even aired yet. Okay. Alberto Del Rio opens up the show, talks about it being a historic SmackDown, of course, because they're in his home country. Del Rio isn't up to wrestling tonight. Teddy Long comes out and announces he will take on the current #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, The Big Show. Then there was a singles match with Mark Henry against John Morrison. Who do you think won?
I'm going to say John Morrison beat him clean with Starship Pain.
No. Mark. Yeah, pretty much. Henry wins with the World's Strongest Slam. Teddy Long announces Sheamus versus Christian in a rematch from Hell in a Cell. They will meet at Vengeance, and Zack Ryder will face Dolph Ziggler for the U.S. title at Vengeance. Obviously, as we mentioned earlier, the tag team title match is scrapped because Evan Bourne is not ready yet. The Stinger is not healed yet. Now, this is now starting to get annoyed. Now, I know you had said this on our last few headlines ago about this, but now it's getting tedious. Wade Barrett and Daniel Bryan apparently had a great match. This might be something worth watching on Friday night.
Yes,
but Wade Barrett wins. But all right, now I understand what you were saying about at least he's putting on good matches. But right now enough's enough. He's won the Money in the Bank, and now he's lost like 12 matches in a row.
Yeah, he hasn't won anything, and I don't know if they even talk about his quest at all, and I still can't really see it happening. I mean, they've gotten this far with it.
I don't even think does he even carry the briefcase anymore?
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
I'm assuming he does, but I mean, I don't know. Whatever. It's just getting.
Listen, motherfucker, we only sing 80s songs. So take your skate cooker wife and get the fuck out of here.
Pretty much. I don't know if they say, maybe somebody screamed that in Mexican. Who knows? All right. Cody Rhodes comes out, one of the few bright spots of the company at the moment.
I think SmackDown's actually a whole bright spot. We're going to get to that in a few minutes because their rating was pretty big once again last week. So.
Okay. Sheamus and Zack Ryder beat Christian and Dolph Ziggler in an excellent tag match. So apparently the in-ring work on this show was actually pretty good.
SmackDown always delivers in-ring. I'll say that.
Yeah.
They always deliver.
Yeah, but Zack Ryder, I think he has more wins in the last 4 months than Daniel Bryan. It seems like.
It's funny. I saw the show on Tony La Russa right now, and I saw someone tweeted. I can't remember who it was now. They said, when did Tony La Russa turn into Bruce Jenner? He does look like him.
Well, when you're the Kardashians' stepfather, I guess you look a bit weathered.
By the way, for all you podcast aficionados out there, I implore you to listen to the new Bill Simmons podcast with Al Michaels. It was really good. Other than Bill Simmons stomping all over him half the time because I don't know what happened. He's lost some of his interviewing skills apparently, but he talks a lot about the OJ stuff and other things he was involved in. And that guy's just been through so many remarkable things, Al Michaels, and he's a good storyteller. So if you're into sports and history like that and want to hear a cool interview, check that out. It's really good.
I I'm going to ask you a serious question. You may think I'm crazy, but I'm going to ask you a serious question. Do you think Bill Simmons would come on our show?
No.
See, I think he might.
No. Maybe like 5 years ago, but I think he's too big now, especially with the whole Grantland thing and all that stuff. I don't think he would right now. I think there are other guys we can get that I'm planning on working on getting that we got to talk about, but he is not one I don't think we could get now.
No. I think he'd be fun, though. I think he'd be a fun interview. Gets WWE guys, which surprises me because I thought they're very picky about allowing. I mean, he's had Punk on.
Yeah, well, they have a good relationship with ESPN pretty much. So, I mean, for the most part, ESPN, it's different than it used to be. They don't really trash them anymore. And they do.
No, they use them for their snarky quips and highlights now.
No,
Bob Lee's the only one.
Much.
Well, Bob Lee's the only one that really hates wrestling, but he's too old school to even care. Meanwhile, when they had no programming in the '80s, when they were airing Bocce and the fucking USFL, they had AWA on. So
yeah, no, they don't seem to take as many shots anymore. I think there are a lot of with UFC blowing up. I think there are a lot of wrestling fans there. And now you got Coach working there. You got Todd Grisham just started last week, and then
did he?
Yeah,
I didn't even see that.
I guess he was on. I saw it. I don't know if he was on ESPN News. He was on some show the other night. And also Robert Flores, who does the fantasy football show and a couple other things,
yes.
ESPN. He's a big wrestling fan. He drops references left and right, all over the place. And actually, even on that show Sunday, they had a little thing with Jeff Jarrett and Karen Jarrett talking about the Titans and plugging Bound for Glory. And of course, Hulk Hogan was all over ESPN last week as well. So I think they have a decent relationship now with wrestling, different than what it used to be like 5 or 6 years ago.
Probably, yeah, I would think so. But I know anytime something tragic happens, they'll shit all over it. So, like they do with Benoit, but at least that lasted maybe a year, and I think they faded from that. So, anyway, back to the spoilers. Cody Rhodes comes out with his baggers. I like that, his baggers. To cut a promo on Randy Orton in their match at Vengeance, which, just to let everyone know, is not for the Intercontinental title.
Right.
Not for the Intercontinental. And actually, for storyline perspective, that's fine.
No, it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that at all. I mean, he's looking just for revenge. He's not looking for the title, and he hasn't earned a title shot from Cody, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah. No, it doesn't matter.
I don't do any tricks.
Well, you might get paid to do some because no one's buying the show Sunday night, so you might need to. We're booking you now, so stop whining and get your ref shirt on. Sin Cara Azul.
Yes.
Defeated Sin Cara Negro in a mask versus mask match
with no hype and no build and nothing else. Why not? I'm fine not doing it on pay-per-view. I understand doing it in Mexico like this, but why not put some hype and some build into it? I don't. Ugh.
The original Sin Cara used the La Mystica for the win in a great match. Both were over with the crowd. After the match, Black Cara's mask had to be removed by force. Another report suggests that Blue Cara won by submission, so we'll see. Now, we're not sure if this is off-air or on-air. We don't know if this will air or not. I'm sure they'll mention it. But the first inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2012 has been announced. And Triple H came out with Carlos Cabrera and announced that probably the greatest masked wrestler. Yeah, and he is a dickhead. Great. Well, I was going to get that, but I at least want to give him a little credit. The greatest masked wrestler of all time, and yes, apparently the world's largest asshole, Mil Mascaras, will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. But apparently he is a grade A dude.
Yes, your cunt is in the sink.
Yeah. El punto SL, whatever.
Mil Mascaras is in the sink, but...
Yes, exactly.
I think it's legit. Fink was tweeting it, and a couple other guys from within the company were saying congratulations. So I wouldn't be surprised if they announce it on TV.
Yeah, probably. Natalya and Beth Phoenix came out to talk about Vengeance. Beth's opponent, Eve Torres, comes out. They end up hitting each other and then leaving the ring. So, whatever. And finally, in the main event, Big Show defeated Alberto Del Rio by DQ in the main event after Ricardo Rodriguez interfered. Mark Henry came out pissed, but Big Show stopped him from entering the ring, and they stared each other down to end the show. So there you have it. So it looks like the in-ring stuff is actually very, very good.
That's what I like about SmackDown. You know you're going to get the in-ring action, and then any good storylines or promos is icing on the cake, and they usually give one or two. So to me, that's definitely become my favorite WWE show of the week at this point.
Yeah, it's going to become pretty good, and I think it's going to continue to grow. I think mostly thanks to three guys in particular: four: Mark Henry, Orton, Cody, and Sheamus. They seem to be the core of that show. Yes. So, although it seems like, it seems like Wade Barrett may start to, and then Daniel Bryan's got the Money in the Bank, but nobody seems.
I mean, those guys are background players, but the four you mentioned are the four faces of that show.
Exactly. So there's your spoilers. All right, why don't we
Yeah, let's blow through these picks for vengeance because we got a lot of other stuff to talk about.
Yes. Let me go to our wonderful place to be paid, which, of course, please go to, as always, bigelow34.proboards.com. Our man, D-Ray, does the awesome...
It's his birthday today. Happy birthday to the D-Bag Luru.
Yes, D-Bag. I thought you were going to have a cool song for him, but I guess not.
Want a song for him?
I don't know. I thought maybe you would come up with something snarky, but I guess not. That's all right. He doesn't deserve a song anyway. Okay. Here we go. We'll start from the bottom and work our way up. For the United States Championship,
I got a song for
our
him.
first match.
D-Bag, this is for you for your birthday. No, okay, we'll save it for later.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew you were going to do that. Oh, God. We spare no expense here at the Place to Be Podcast, folks. I knew you were going to do that. That was great. All right. For the United States Championship, the champion, Dolph Ziggler, who's actually had a pretty good reign. He's been on camera a lot, flaunting the U.S. title. He wore it backwards on Monday night, which I don't know why, but he did.
I've really dug him, though. He's another guy that works his gimmick 24/7, all over Twitter, all over the internet, and everywhere else. He's really put a lot of work into improving. To me, he's seems to be on the same track as The Miz was. Spent a few years really toiling and working on his craft and working on his character under the radar. And his bumping is fantastic.
Yeah, no, he definitely is past the whole Billy Gunn stage. He's definitely come up with a good.
I don't do any tricks.
He doesn't have to. He's spectacular without them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you there, DS, could use some tricks. But I think as much as Zack Ryder's going on a run, and of course the Clown Prince there, Matt Rotella, is popping a chubby over this.
Now the phone could ring at any time,
Well, it could, and maybe you'll referee this match, and then again, maybe not. Dolph Ziggler will likely retain. I don't think it would be great to see Zack Ryder win it, and I think he's due for a secondary belt at some point. I don't think it's going to happen here.
No, I think they really seem to be getting on the Dolph wagon, and they seem to really like this Swagger Dolph Vicky combo and the way they've been pushing them. I don't think Dolph loses this. I think he defeats Ryder.
Right.
Which I'm always cool with. You know me. I like televised and pay-per-view title defenses. Helps put over the belt.
Yes, exactly. This one is not for the belt, but I think it's going to be an awesome... I think, to my opinion, I think this is match of the night.
Yes.
Cody Rhodes, the Intercontinental Champion, not defending his title, but this feud doesn't need it, takes on Randy Orton. Good holdover for Orton until he gets back into the title picture. I think it's going to be a tremendous match. I'm torn on who I think is going to win. I kind of want Cody. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Orton wins. But
I think Orton wins as well. If this was going to carry over another month, I'd say maybe Cody steals it. But with Survivor Series coming, Orton's going to be involved in something major. So I don't think they're going to have this match again then. So I think Orton wins it. But I think Cody gives him a match and earns a lot of respect in the process.
Okay.
And just to give an update, Texas has first and second with one out right now, top of the seventh.
Is Carpenter still in?
No. We've already gotten to the Bruce Jenner wheelhouse of Wheel of Fortune of relievers.
Yeah, 15 relievers, all guys with a lot of consonants and no vowels in their last name.
And whoever that was just struck out. I think it's Hamilton. I didn't see. Rybczynski is in now.
Okay, there he is, Mr. Consonants. Well, Josh Hamilton is playing with a severely strained groin.
And it wasn't him. I'm sorry. It was Craig Gentry just struck out.
Okay. But Hamilton is playing with a severely strained groin too. You could tell when he hit a fly ball about an inning ago before we went on the air, and he was walking gingerly to the dugout. So that's why he's only hitting like 280 in this postseason. So, all right. The tag team, we have to tell D-Bag here to get rid of this match off the list. He still has the tag.
Well, yeah, he said he wasn't sure what was what, so he put them all up there.
Okay. For the Divas Championship, the champion Beth Phoenix now takes on Eve Torres, so we don't have to watch. We don't have to watch Beth and Kelly for the fourth pay-per-view in a row.
No, and Beth wins this, I think, obviously.
Yeah, I think she does too. She's gonna keep going on. Here's the tag: Triple H, CM Punk versus The Miz and R-Truth. I don't know what the hell to make of this. I don't know if Marty there is going to continue to bust Triple H's stones, even though Triple H is still his boss. But we don't really know that right now. I don't think anybody really cares. I don't know. What do you think? I'm curious to hear your thoughts before I make a pick. I'm still kind of torn on this.
I think it's paint by numbers. I think Triple H and Punk win.
Okay.
I think it'll be a pretty good match. Miz and Truth probably have a little miscommunication. I mean, I guess they could steal a win to build up Survivor Series, but I don't see it. I think Triple H and Punk win. I think they're the new DX at this point. So I don't see them losing this match. And it continues to piss me off that Punk is all buddy-buddy with him now. I know they're doing the whole respect thing, but it's a joke. The way he talked about him and treated him for 2 months, and now all of a sudden they're buddies.
Yeah, I mean, I understand they're both baby faces, but I think this was their easy way of putting them both on the pay-per-view. I think this is just laziness more than anything else. I don't even think it has to do with logic. I think they're just lazy and just need to want to put. I don't know why Triple H needs to even be on the show anymore. Why is he even wrestling?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why is he wrestling? There's no need for him to.
I mean, these guys are obviously going to be four of the cornerstones of the big Survivor match. It's most likely going to include Rock and Cena as well as maybe McFoley. So we'll see.
All right, and then our double main event for the WWE Championship in a last man standing match. The champion, Alberto Del Rio, takes on John Cena. And this is pretty much a no-brainer. We've already been told, and I saw a news. I'm not sure if it's on our. I have to double check our list again.
It's not.
It's not. It pretty much it seems like John Cena will finally be exiting the title picture for the time being, and after this show, he will start to reinvigorate his feud with The Rock as we get towards. Yeah,
because they said this is his last shot.
Yeah, and Del Rio I think is going to win, and Cena will move on and get ready for Survivor Series. So I think it'll be a fun match. This is a match Del Rio really needs to shine.
Yeah.
Night of Champions, you and I watched. It was all right. And then Hell in a Cell is tough to triple threats and stuff like that. Even in a Hell in a Cell are tough to gauge in terms of how somebody looked in a match. He really needs to shine here. And the problem is we have the whole blood issue. Usually these are the kind of matches where you can kick the shit out of each other and make it look really juicy. But, of course, no one's doing that right now. So
there'll probably
I
be
don't know how
something screwy involved here. And moving on. Yeah, I think Cena's obviously going to be out of the title picture at least until after WrestleMania now at this point.
Right, exactly. And even though there's rumors floating around that Rock wants a title shot, and that's not going to happen. Okay, so we both like
Brzezinski just struck out Esteban Herman, so they're out of the inning.
Okay, so it's 3-2 Cardinals. What going to the 8th? Bottom 7. Okay, so 7th inning stretch. All right, and finally for the World Heavyweight Championship, this is right in my PICs in my wheelhouse. Two huge ham hocks smacking the crap out of each other. Your World Heavyweight Champion Mark Henry takes on the Big Show. This match is going to be pretty much what you would expect it to be. I don't think there's going to be any real surprises. Just two big studs just pounding on each other. I don't know if this will be clean. Maybe. I don't know. Mark Henry's going to win. I just don't know how. I don't know if it'll be, if it'll just be a straight up. If he pinned Orton clean, I can't see him not pinning Big Show clean. So I'm going to take Mark Henry clean. He'll win this match clean.
Yeah, I agree. No way Big Show's winning this. Mark Henry wins. And I'm glad they're giving him another title defense because he's just earned this run. And I'm glad. I wanted to see it last.
I do too. I think it's going to last for a while. I don't see anybody else at the moment taking it. I really don't. I don't think. I'm sure there'll be at least one title match at Survivor Series. I don't know if there'll be two. Depends who they put. If Del Rio gets on a team, or however this weird match is going to how this alleged superstar match of unbelievable proportions is being put together.
Yeah, I'm still curious how that's going to play out.
Yeah, I am too. So there's your vengeance picks. It really makes me mad. I mean, it's a show you and I've always loved. We've always watched, and it's just like oh, by the way, guys, let's do a pay-per-view. Yeah, sure, why not? Just makes me mad. It couldn't have been some throwaway crap thing like Breaking Point or Bragging Rights, one of those garbage titles from 2 years ago. They got to take a legendary Attitude Era pay-per-view brand and just slap it out there for all of us to spend $50 on for nothing.
For none of us to spend $50 on.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to Picasso's and I'm going for free. So, but we'll update we'll let you know what happens. That's what we do here at the Place to Be. We give you everything, good or bad, and we let you decide on your own. So for those that are watching it Sunday night, post your comments on the Facebook page and let us know whether you thought it sucked or not, or if you actually liked it. You never know. Maybe if you go in with low expectations.
Oh, I think the show will be fine. It's just another pay-per-view for $50 where probably nothing's really going to happen. That's the problem. I think the actual action's going to be fine. Like, I'm be looking forward to maybe watching it on 24/7 or wherever else afterwards, but it's nothing I can say I want to spend my money on.
Right. So there's your vengeance picks, and we'll go over the show next week.
Okay. Let's move on because we have a lot to talk about regarding TNA, Bound for Glory, and, of course, the night after, or 2 nights after, with the big-time spoiler.
How boring is that? God.
All right, so
he deserves it. He deserves to play the crap version. I can't believe you just said we have a lot to go over. I can't believe you just said we have a lot to go over with TNA.
I know we do.
I can't believe you just said that.
We definitely do.
Very weird. So, all right. Let's talk about Bound for Glory.
Okay, yeah, let's do that first, and then we'll talk about the fallout from that, and then we'll talk about the what happened a couple nights later. So at Bound for Glory, of course, the big two matches are Hogan, Sting, and Robert Roode, Kurt Angle for the world title.
Yep.
Sting, Hogan, apparently now neither of us watched the show. We're, of course, basing this on hearsay and results, but Hogan Sting actually was surprisingly okay, I guess, based on all the overbooking and Flair and everyone else getting involved, and Bischoff and his kid and everything else, and Sting ended up winning the match, and then Hogan turned face afterwards, aligning with Sting after he helped Sting run off Immortal, and it looks like Immortal's dead now. So, but then the match that most people were waiting for was Robert Roode and Kurt Angle. Of course, this is the culmination of the Bound for Glory Championship Series. Robert Roode won that. That thing was going on for like 3 or 4 months. Everyone assumed that this would be Roode's crowning moment, and this would kind of be their WrestleMania feel-good moment. He'd win the title. And there was also word out there that Kurt Angle had a major hamstring injury. And hold on, I'm going to pull that up right now for my good friends at WrestleFest. WrestleChat.
While you're doing that, I'll let everyone know the other results. In the TNA Tag Title match, Mexican America retained against Inc. Inc. Let's see. In the X Division title match, Austin Aries, who, by the way, did you know this? Is a voice on WWE 12.
Really?
He voices a character. I'll get more into that later. But before TNA signed him, he voiced something on the game. Which I'll tell you what in a little bit. But anyway, he retains the championship. I think he had the belt, right? Yeah, he did. So he retained the title, the X Division title. Full Metal Mayhem, Jerry Lynn versus Rob Van Dam. And just like every time they wrestled in ECW, RVD won.
Yep. No surprise.
Apparently it was a good spot fest. In the end, he leaped across the ring, crashed a chair and a ladder right into Jerry Lynn's face, and got the pin and the win. And they both got to their feet and they hugged. And as usual, Jerry Lynn didn't get a win. What's RVD's record, like 15-0 against Jerry Lynn? I don't think Jerry Lynn ever got a win. It's kind of like Kane and Undertaker. Then there was this weird three-way match. Samoa Joe, Crimson, and Matt Morgan.
Yeah, Samoa Joe is the John Morrison of TNA, just continually buried.
Yeah, even though the guy is amazing. Crimson wins. I have no idea who the hell Crimson is.
He's like their kind of Goldberg prototype.
Oh, okay. In the Falls Count Anywhere match, Mr. Anderson, of course, Mr. Kennedy, defeats Bully Ray.
Yeah, apparently that was a pretty good match, and they did a good job with some promo work and off-air promo work to get the Philly crowd to actually turn on Bully Ray and get behind Anderson, which is surprising. So, But apparently that was a very good match.
In the TNA Knockouts title match, Velvet Sky, Madison Rain, Mickie James, and Winter had their four-way, and Velvet Sky won the match.
Yeah,
Tracy Brooks is back.
Yep, and they're carrying on their whole feud with Velvet Sky's kind of feuding with Karen Jarrett. So,
right, and I'm a huge Tracy Brooks fan. I always loved her. Then the I Quit match, Christopher Daniels, or just Daniels, against AJ Styles, and Styles won.
Yeah, they did the whole thing. Daniels begged off and then walked away, saying something along the lines like "You never actually made me tap or quit" or something like that. So that looks like that feud's continuing on.
Yeah, something involving a screwdriver, which is very interesting.
Yeah, Styles had a screwdriver, and then Daniels quit before he could use it. So kind of like the JBL Cena from Judgment Day.
From Judgment Day, right. Then the no DQ match, Hogan and Sting. Sting won.
Yep.
And now the title match.
Yeah, so Angle actually tweeted that he was only going to take a week off to deal with his hamstring injury. So many people thought this all seemed to hint towards Roode finally winning the title. What ended up happening was Angle defeated him by hooking the ropes and pinning him with a roll-up. So later that night and the next day, of course, there was a ton of backlash against this whole thing. Everyone ripping them. And, I'm always on the fence on these kind of things. A lot of times I like to see where things are going before I jump to conclusions. That kind of pissed me off, though, because they built that up so much. And whether you believe Roode is the right guy or not, they kind of made the Bound for Glory series look cheap. This guy outlasts all these other competitors, wins this long, grueling series, and then loses the title match. It would have been like if Edge, after winning Money in the Bank, blew that, the first year. Look at how well they've established Money in the Bank by making all these guys always win. That makes it like it's really... the Money in the Bank briefcase has been booked better than any title they have in WWE, I think.
Right, I agree.
It's the strongest thing they have right now. So, it would have been nice to see Rude capitalize on that instead of just kind of wasting it. But here's what some of the fallout was as far as on the net. And as far as Place to Be Nation fallout, we're going to get to that when we get to the Asshole of the Week, because that's where a majority of the issue was in there with us.
Okay.
Hogan was in intense pain to where he couldn't move much immediately backstage after his match. And they said Kurt Angle was actually in worse shape than Hogan. He had to be taken backstage and laid on his back. And of course, his hamstring was messed up. And then there were reports that there was a lot of anger backstage, of course, within TNA at Hogan.
Oh, of course.
A lot of resentment within TNA regarding Bobby Roode not winning. Hogan lobbied to keep the title on Angle. Word is the plan, even up to a few hours, was for Roode to win. And then Hogan lobbied not to have him win. He thought Roode was not the right choice. And the writing was kind of on the wall because he did an interview. I think it was one of the ESPN ones he did where he said Angle's defending the title against some guy or something like that, some other wrestler. He didn't even name him. And then he also came out either that day or the day before saying that he didn't think Roode was ready to be the main guy in TNA. So the writing was kind of on the wall that he was against it. And of course, it turns out that it was part of a bigger story. And that is because on the Impact tapings Tuesday night, we did crown a new TNA World Champion. And that was James Storm, Robert Roode's former partner. Or I guess current. I don't know if they're still considered a team.
I think Beer Money is still together.
Yeah, so he ended up taking and of course Storm, a lot of people assumed he was going to be turning heel. And now this opens up some good curiosity. You wonder if maybe they're going to have Storm turn heel on Roode since he took his title shot basically, or do you have Roode turn heel, which many people think he's better suited for anyway, and you have him turn on Storm and then they feud over the title, which could work. So, I was obviously pretty pissed Sunday night when Roode didn't win, thinking, oh, here we go. But when I read the spoilers and saw that Storm did win the title, I'm kind of okay with it, I think. Because I actually think Storm's better than Roode. I think he'll be a better choice as champion. I think he's earned it just as much. He's, a young guy and a TNA guy, and it's kind of the same theory we had behind Roode. So I'm kind of okay with it. How about you?
Depends where it heads. I can't say a bad thing about James Storm. I was a huge America's Most Wanted fan, and I was a huge Beer Money fan. So the fact the recipient of the title is a guy that I like a lot is fine. I'm just sick and tired of Hogan's bullshit. I'm sick and tired of this whole promotion.
Yeah, but is
They're
it bullshit?
Idiots.
Is it bullshit though? And it seems like their plan was to put it on Storm. Now they're saying so. Or he supported Storm. So is it really, now that you see the full picture, is it really bullshit? Maybe he thinks Storm is a better guy and that Roode chasing Storm is a better storyline. So,
I don't want to sound
really his bullshit. I don't know.
I don't want to sound like one of these conspiracy theory people, but maybe James Storm wasn't the idea after all, and they're just saying that now.
No, it's possible. But maybe that was
they don't want to look like assholes. Because if that was the whole idea, then why was everybody all pissed off Sunday night then?
Well, I'm just saying maybe Hogan's, in his vision, he thought Storm was a better choice, and maybe that was part of his lobbying, was that Roode's not ready, but we think Storm is. I mean, I'm just saying maybe we should hold off on totally bashing Hogan for this, and maybe he has a point. I think we're going to see how it plays out, how they let Storm build as champion and what they build too, before we can really trash it.
Well, I'm a huge James Storm fan. I loved AMW and I loved Beer Money, so I'm not mad at the decision to give it to him. But if you were going to have Kurt Angle win it anyway, then why was it last? It seemed like Hogan Sting had this touchy moment at the end, and that would have been a better.
No, but you have to have Roode Angle as the main event, the world title match. They're trying to make the title mean something. They had this whole series. Either way, it's not like Angle is some everyone hates him. I mean, he's still pretty over, and he's basically been booked kind of as a face anyway. So I don't think it's not like they had some mega heel win at the end. It's just they didn't have Roode win. Which is fine. And, there are other people complaining, saying, oh, why are they giving it away on TV? Well, TNA doesn't give a shit about pay-per-view. They don't, of course the people that ordered it kind of get screwed. But, if you're ordering a TNA pay-per-view, you should know that may not always get what you want. But they don't care. Their money comes from Spike. Their money comes from Impact. That's where their money comes from. Pay-per-view is not a moneymaker for them. So, could they make it into one by doing title changes there? I don't know. But to them, I think they'd rather pop a big rating with this taping than anything on pay-per-view.
Sounds like the philosophy of another company 15 years ago.
Yeah, true. Well, that was different, though. That was different. There was more competition, and they were in a war, TV rating war. Here,
right.
TNA's money literally comes from Spike. If their ratings sag and they get kicked off, they're fucked. So they need to give a good TV product. Spike is what keeps them afloat. So WCW was different. They weren't. TNT was keeping them afloat in a different way, And Texas just got out of 7th. They're going to the 8th. But now I actually turned my venom to that idiot Eric Bischoff, who was ripping on the internet fans, saying, "Oh, look at these stupid internet fans all crying. Good thing we still have." Actually, it's Hogan who said, "I'm glad we still have real marks," or something like that on Twitter. But Bischoff was mocking the internet fans, and it's like the internet fans make up a majority of TNA's fan base at this point. So
yeah, pretty much.
Enough, Bischoff. We know you don't like the internet fans. We know you're a cool, smarmy heel. We get it. Stop being a dick. People are going to react to things, and yeah, you may have proved them wrong 2 nights later, and haha, we all see where you're going with it, but shut the fuck up. We don't need your condescending nonsense on going on Facebook and going on the internet, like we'll see our friend Jordan Duncan says, going on the internet to rip on internet fans. But let me quickly read the Place to Be Nation's reactions to the James Storm winning the title.
Okay.
Matt Davis, what in the fucking blue Christ is this their finger poke of doom moment? No, I'd say it's not. Jason Greenhouse, is this their way of saying to the fans, gotcha? No, I don't think so. Brett Carlson, weird, don't they have to get somehow to Storm Rude? And yes, I think that's where they're headed. Jeremy Nichols, I'm not going to ask why Storm is in the match or why he won. It's pointless to ask questions about this company. Now, yes, they don't have the best track record. I agree with that, Jeremy. Jordan Duncan, I'm totally cool with this move. I'd rather see Storm Rude feuding over the title than a crippled Angle hanging onto it. Corey Ferreira, did not see that coming. Could be interesting and could be a good lead into Rude Storm, which I agree.
At least they'd be building towards a feud involving 2 of their homegrown guys.
I agree. I totally agree. That's why I'm kind of okay with this. Jay Hinchy, no, this was TNA's way of saying screw you pay-per-view buyers. We're going to do it on free TV because we have WCW syndrome, only worrying about ratings instead of pay-per-view payoffs. But like I said,
Jay Hinchy's thinking like I am, yeah.
Yeah, but I just think it's 2 totally different situations. Spike is keeping them afloat. They need to focus more on TV. The minimum audience orders their pay-per-view anyway, so I want to see anyone who actually ordered this come on the Facebook page and tell us that you felt like you got screwed. I mean, if you watched it on a stream or read the results, then I can't feel bad for you, but if you paid the $50 and you feel like you got hosed, that's one thing. But I haven't seen too many people complaining about that, saying because the show actually got very good reviews as far as the matches go until the finish. So, did you really not get your money's worth because of that finish? I don't know.
Right. No, I guess it depends.
Mike Wilkinson, this is why Impact is lame. If you don't give fans a pay-per-view blow-off and do it on TV, they won't buy the pay-per-views, which, as we said, I don't think is their point. Jordan Duncan, interesting that people are saying typical TNA and Bischoff when WWE suffers worse from TV rating syndrome just as bad, if not worse, which I agree with as well. They put no hype into the pay-per-views half the time. No. And then, of course, Jordan crapping on the Bischoff thing. Gotta love the guy who rips on the internet fans and does so on the internet is the one that loves doing angles where only internet fans would get, like Where Are Your Scissors, Sid, which I agree with as well.
Yes.
So there you go. There's your Bound for Glory. We'll have more on that a little bit later, of course, when we get to the Asshole of the Week. But we did want to talk about that quickly. And, of course, voice our opinion. We'll see where they go. You and I will track this, and we'll see where they go. And I want to give it a chance before I completely start shitting on it. So,
yeah, I guess I'm just sick of him. I'm sick of all of them.
Hogan's there for another 2 years, so.
Yeah, so, 2 more years I won't be watching Impact. But at least 2 guys that I really like, Bobby Roode and James Storm, are at least in the center of this. So I'll give them that. Yeah. I will give them that.
Yeah, but, exactly. If they're going to build to them being the main feud, I'm down for it.
Yeah. When do you think it's going to get to the point where Jarrett's just going to get rid of it? Because he's not even really has any power left in this company.
Jarrett, but he's actually been pretty good as a heel in this role with him and Karen and everything. I think he's just enjoying the ride. And actually, he's going to be a major part, and we didn't talk about this at all on the show, but Dave Lagana signed with TNA. And he's not actually going to be working on the creative team for Impact. He's going to be overseeing a new project. They are opening a new promotion. Let me just make sure I got this right. I want to make sure I get the right country.
Mm-hmm. I wish he was writing. If he was in charge, it'd be even better.
Okay. They are opening a new promotion in India.
Really?
And it's not going to be the TNA name. It's going to be a completely new promotion. I guess they draw very well there, and they're pretty big there. This is from TWNP News. TNA is planning to launch a new international brand by the end of 2011, being spearheaded by Jeff Jarrett. The new brand will be a weekly series in India that will not be using the TNA name. The current plan is to tape a week in December with another week of tapings in January. They've hired Dave Lagana to work on the new project. New project for the Indian market will be separate from TNA creatively and as the roster goes. Former TNA writer Dutch Mantel will be joining Jarrett and Lagana on the creative team.
Cool.
Former referee Rudy Charles has been involved in developing the roster. No word yet on who's been signed, but they've put together a roster of former WWE, TNA, and ECW stars with some independent stars as well. BG James, who's now working with WWE, went to India. I'm thinking they meant TNA. Went to India and Sanjay Dutt to scout talent. Dutt will be a major part of the new brand. James and Dutt oversaw 100 Indian talent tryouts. Of those, 10 were chosen and will be brought to the U.S. to work on the new show. The project will air in India on the Colors Network, known in the U.S. as APCA Colors. Colors is carried by some providers, including Dish Network. So, interesting concept there, and it's good to see them have some growth, and that's why I think Jarrett's probably not going anywhere. And we like Lagana, so it's good to see him get another gig, and we think he'll do well there. So, all right, so let's back off that for a while, and of course we got some more ranting to do because we're going to do our Lucha Libre recap, and I know Scott's got some things to say about that, and then we have a cool question from our buddy Austin Pfaff regarding that as well.
Hello, listeners. This is wrestler professional R.J. Brewer. That's right. I'm a professional wrestler. I am not a Lucha Libre superstar. And this fall on MTV2, you can watch Lucha Libre USA Mass Warriors, but you're not going to watch it for the six-sided ring, the silly capes, the flips, and all those stupid Lucha Libre rules. You're going to watch it because you're going to want to see professional wrestler from America. That's right. I'm from America, and I'm to represent America, R.J. Brewer. See, my mother, who's the most powerful woman in Arizona, sent me with her blessing to this company, this God-forsaken company, to clean it up, and that's exactly what I'm going to do this fall. Make sure you watch. If you're a proud American, you're going to want to see me clean up the filth.
Exactly, and he was on a roll until this week.
Yeah, good heel, though. He had to get some comeuppance. I know you got issue with it, but go ahead. All right, why don't you run through the results quickly?
Okay. Our episode number 3 of Lucha Libre USA Mass Warriors. First off, we open with a guy who's a better heel than maybe half the heels in WWE, and that is the Lucha Libre USA champion, Liz Mark Jr. He's just awesome.
Yeah, week 1, you were railing on this guy. You said you hated him.
I did. I hated him. I thought he was fat, and I thought he was annoying. But maybe the fat and annoying is kind of leading me into actually liking him as a heel. Cause
yeah, you know,
Well, let's just say I think he kind of has set it up to where. Now he's using his. When I first watched, I forgot who the heel was.
Yeah.
In that whole feud, and it turned out to be him. Now I can understand it. In the beginning, I wasn't crazy about it, but now I'm starting to understand what the character is.
Seems like he's almost based on Mil Mascaras. The rumors you hear about him. This is kind of arrogant, pompous, masked, Mexican aristocrat kind of guy, and I dig it too. I loved last week when he was getting his portrait done at ringside, and this week he was being a douchebag as well. So, and of course he's got his cronies, running interference for him, and good feud going out with Marco Corleone as well. So.
Yes, he was backstage getting a new cape.
Yes, I love it.
It looked like the cape that Harley Race had at WrestleMania 3. It looked exactly like it.
And by the way, just to interrupt, top of the 8th, 2 outs. The only man in baseball older than you is in Arthur Rhodes to pitch. So.
Arthur Rhodes, there we go. The guy can get everybody out unless they're wearing pinstripes with an NY. And
my brother from another mother, Arthur Rhodes, coming into pitch right here.
Yeah.
Where's my son Bobby to come watch this?
He's got a career ERA of like 3, except when he plays pitches against the Yankees, where his ERA is like 32. But anyway, so he's backstage with his 2 cronies there, Sadistico and the other guy that looks like Freddy Krueger. I have his name written down. Trying to get the character still down here.
Yeah, it's a little tricky. And I noticed, I thought the audio was a little bit better this week. Still not great, but
right. So they're backstage and they're going to get their own capes and all that stuff. All right. Second, we have another tag match. This goes with the Orientals and the Mexicans. This tag team name is called the PR Powers.
Yes, I liked it.
It's the San Juan Kid. Yes, it's the San Juan Kid and the PR Flyer.
Yep.
So, and they took on the team of Rudissimo and El Oriental, more Orientals, Oriental Tineblas Jr.
Now, of course, they're really building the tag division because that's going to be next week's show is built around that, the crowning of the new tag team champions. So
yes, so the bad guy, the heels won, Rudissimo and the Oriental, due to this continuing, and I'm actually kind of digging this continuing storyline involving these hooded guys.
Yes. I'm very curious.
They had one over the last couple weeks, one hooded guy running in running interference. They knocked him out, and then another hooded guy came in and took out one of the PR guys, and Rudissimo and the Oriental got the win. So they chased after him, and then their hot backstage reporter girl ran out the back door.
Who is, of course, Reeves guy.
Yes. She racked out the back door, and these guys drove off. I don't know, this Albuquerque from the back, it looked like a prison.
Yes.
It's like you see this like long fence with barbed wire and like a gate opens. I was expecting Triple H to walk through it like the chaperone, but
I know I'm 30 seconds late on this, but with all the Oriental talk tonight. And Arthur Rhodes just got Josh Hamilton to fly out, so we'll go to the bottom of the 8th there.
Okay. Yeah. The most used theme in the history of WWE by like 11 people. Yep. It was used by Orient Express. Yes, Orient Express to Bull Nagano to Hakushi to... Did Aja Kong use it? Probably.
No, Omari used it in the 96 Rumble.
That's right, Omari, and yeah, so. Okay, so this mass men's story, and I wrote it down, but there's there was initials on the back of it. I think it was SR or SJ, JR. I had it written. I didn't write it down. My bad. It's got two. There's two initials on the back of the of the sweatshirt.
Okay.
So, but they'll get more into that next week. The next match was Marco Corleone, our man Mark Jindrak, number one. It seems like the top babyface in the promotion, taking on Sadistico, who was one of Liz Mark's cronies. Not a bad match. Like I said, these guys wrestle at a very deliberate pace.
Yeah.
They don't kill each other. They're very deliberate, and it looks slow, but it's really not. It's just very deliberate. They get their moves. They're telling their story. And I agree with you, JR. They need to pump up the crowd noise. They really need to pump the crowd noise.
Yeah, they just seem very like they just drown it out so they can have the announcers. And I like the announcers a lot. Kevin Kelly is very, very good in this role.
Yes, he is. Absolutely.
But yeah, it's just they just seem to be stifling the crowd noise, which is an odd decision. So
yes, I agree.
But I like Marco Corleone. He's definitely a good, top face for this promotion, I think.
Yeah, I think he is too. So he's getting roughed up. He beats. I think it ends in a DQ because the other guy, the other heel there. Damn it! I had his name in my head too. He's the one with the Freddy Krueger face.
Yes.
He's the other crony there in Liz
I'll try
Mark.
to find it for you while you.
Yeah, Liz Mark's crew comes out and interferes and ends in a DQ. But then the big debut, and I kind of dig this because I think debuts like this are really starting to give the show and the promotion some legitimacy.
Yep.
Former Cruiserweight Champion, WWE Cruiserweight Champion, and really the only guy from the Omega promotion that's not in rehab or wrecked mess, although he was very close to it. Next to Shannon Moore, I suppose. Shane Helms, and they called him Shane Helms. He wasn't Gregory Helms. He was Shane Helms.
Right.
Came in and saved Marco Corleone from certain doom. So he is in the promotion now, and I think that's very good. I think that's very good for the promotion. I think it legitimizes the
Relic.
I think it legitimizes
Relic,
the
is that the other
good
guy?
Relic. Thank you, Relic. Yes, Relic.
Well, we talked about that's Johnny Stamboli.
That's Stamboli, right? So Relic, aka Freddy Krueger, aka Johnny Stamboli, came out and he's the other half of Liz Mark's crew there, the other third, and but they got chased off by Shane Helms. So. And I think that's cool. I like. Yeah. I really think it's legitimizing the roster and giving it some. And
those are the guys you want to go after. They're not going to break the bank. TNA always brings in the big name, big pay guys. But if you're bringing a guy like Helms, he's got a lot of name recognition. A lot of fans know him from being the Hurricane and everything. He's got a pretty good following, and he's not going to cost you a ton. I'm sure they're paying him well, but he's not going to cost you millions. So to me, that's the kind of guy you want to bring in there.
Right, exactly. So I think that's going to work out for them
as well. So
yes. Okay. Then we have a backstage skit where that Halloween Pequeño is getting a massage from some random girl, and then the girl, I think that's Matt Hardy's girlfriend there.
Yeah, Rebecca Reyes. She's the interviewer and the one involved in the storyline. Yeah,
and so she starts massaging Halloween Pequeño.
Yeah, she messes with him, and then he wants more, and she leaves him hanging.
And she leaves. So. Yeah, so it's a hot tease. Yes. Then we get a vignette, and I'm curious to who this is. We get a vignette, and all it says is "Got Blood." Are you thinking that it? I don't know. For some reason, I don't know why this is in my head, but I'm thinking Gangrel.
Yeah, it could be. We'll see.
Which I think that'd be very cool. To be honest with you,
I agree.
Good to see him back in the groove. Of course, he lost his longtime. I don't think they were married, were they? Yeah, they were married. His longtime wife, Luna.
I don't know if they were married when she passed away. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. But I'm sure he was very sad. I mean, they were together for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were together when she was in Florida. I think that's how long they've been together.
Yeah,
they were together long. They were together a long time. So anyway, so there's a vignette that says "Got Blood." It's either that or it's Kevin Thorne. I don't know, one or the other.
It could be. I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, so I enjoyed the show immensely so far, till we got to here. Well, not this point, but after this, the main event. We talked about it last week. Our favorite guy our favorite character of the entire promotion, RJ Brewer, and his girl there, Lizzie Valentine Carter. Look at him. He didn't tell us that he was carrying around that little trinket.
Yeah, he's doing that secret.
He's keeping that secret from you and I.
Leading into that show Friday night, he did a live chat on Facebook. And,
yes, I heard you
I made
were.
sure to heal. I healed the hell out of him. I was sending him all kinds of things on there. So
tremendous. I got to go on there next time and actually support him.
But I like the interactiveness of this promotion. Every week, every Friday night, they do a live chat with a different competitor, and they're starting to do an online show as well to keep you abreast of what's going on. And they're very involved. They try and get you very involved. So
yes, Dennis Stamp not involved.
No, not involved.
He takes on. So of course, this was the big match that was booked from last week. RJ Brewer taking on Magdo in a mask versus hair match. If RJ Brewer won, Magdo would have to unmask. And if Magdo won, then
is it Magdo or Magno? I can never understand Kevin Kelly.
I think it's Magdo, Magdo. Right. It's Magdo.
I thought it was Magno.
I think it's Magdo. I thought I saw the graphic.
Baker?
That's what I'm thinking. I never even heard of him. But
I think it's Magno. I think it's
Is it Magno?
Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
Well, either way, he should have lost. But anyway, it's mask versus hair. And the match is good. Actually, it's very good. I think it's the best match. My personal opinion, it's the best match that I've seen in the first 3 episodes. Even better than the 4-way for the title in the beginning.
Yeah, it was a very good match.
Yes. We thought RJ Brewer wins when he pulls out a chain out of his tights and cracks Magdo in the face.
Well, no, I think Lizzie gives it to him.
Lizzie gives it to him and puts it in his tights.
Yep.
His boy Petey Williams is interfering, and I think he distracts the ref.
Yep.
Pins Magdo, and I'm stoked. I'm like, yeah, another mask. It's tremendous. And then the stupid ref looks at RJ's crotch.
Yep.
Should question that. And pulls the chain out.
Well, he saw it hanging out. It was hanging over the top.
Yeah, he saw it hanging out. So we got to blame John for it. He's got to stick the chain deeper. Come on, John. And anyway, so they restart the match, and Magdo ends up winning with a roll-up. John, he always loses with roll-ups. He always gets pulled. He always whines with the ref, and he gets turned into it's almost like a small package. So he wins them. So Magno wins the match. He originally, RJ walks off going, yeah, whatever, he ain't doing nothing. You suck. And then another masked guy. It's not Supernova. It's somebody else. Maybe it is Supernova. No, it's not Supernova. It's some other guy. Some other masked guy comes out. And then the midget there, was it Pequeño? No, what's the midget's name? El Mascarita comes out and carries Lizzie Valentine out on his shoulders, which I think is actually very impressive.
Yeah, it was very impressive, yep.
He's a mean little midget there.
Yeah.
You know how he got in such good shape?
Because we've been playing basketball with all the other fucking midgets.
Exactly. And so in the end, somebody the other masked guy puts him in a sleeper. And again, it's because, I understand the announcers are loud, but sometimes they're talking way too fast. And and it's not Kevin Kelly, it's the other guy. And I can't get the names clear enough. And they don't put graphics up all the time.
Yeah.
So they puts him in a sleeper, and then him and Magdo shave RJ's head. I'm really, really pissed off at this. Because this could have been a storyline that could have gone on for weeks. And RJ Brewer could have just kept collecting masks and and he could have had like 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, the problem is you can't unmask too many of these guys. I mean, these are your stars. You can't unmask this guy Magno. They seem like they're using him to be a upper mid-card face.
Well, then they shouldn't have done then you shouldn't have done the storyline in the first place, and they should have just done something else.
That's all right.
Because I'm sorry. I think if you're going to pump up a storyline where you're going to bring in other guys, then I don't know, bring in guys that are masked humps or something. I don't know. Anything. But it's a good storyline that could have milked for another 4 or 5 weeks, and RJ just kept collecting masks, and him and Petey could have been staring at them and have a poster of Governor Brewer behind them, and they really could have pumped this thing up great, and then they shot its load after a week.
No, I agree. They probably could have given it a couple more weeks, but I honestly, from what I know about the promotion, I think John is being set up for bigger things coming soon. So
I hope so. He earned it.
No, he's definitely a major part of what they're doing. He's one of the guys you mainly see on all the vignettes and everything, and he seems very confident in what they're doing. So I think he's going to be a pretty big focal point of that promotion. So I wouldn't be too upset. I do think the feud could have been longer, yes, but I wouldn't worry about him being buried or anything.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't saying he was going to be buried. I don't think he's going to be like off the show or anything. But I would have liked to have seen. Would have been nice to have seen a couple of more masks be collected. I thought that would be pretty cool, but.
All right, now Austin Pfaff just asked quickly, why do we think MTV seems to be behind this more than they were with Wrestling Society X? I think maybe part of it is they know they have a better idea what they want to do. I also think this is more of a niche market than Wrestling Society X was. Wrestling Society X was kind of a mess. It was just a lot of high spots and garbage wrestling. And to me, that was kind of phased out by the time that started airing. A lot of people weren't as into that kind of stuff. Lucha Libre has a very good, dedicated audience. They're going to bring in a lot of the Hispanic fans and, the ones that watch Rey Mysterio on SmackDown and everything else. And you're going to get a lot of, American wrestling fans as well that want to see something different. And I just think they know that it's more of a unique promotion that they can get behind. And it seems like they are very into it. So,
Well, I think the other problem was Lucha Libre is being pumped up as I think it's a promotion with a television foundation, whereas Wrestling Society X, I think they tried to make as legit. And there was a lot of bad personalities in Wrestling Society X. You had Waltman in there, and his head wasn't screwed on straight.
Teddy Hart, wasn't he in that?
Teddy Hart was involved in that, and he's a dipshit. So yeah, there was a lot of shit going on there that just kind of derailed that. This looks like Lucha Libre, and again, when we talked to John a few weeks ago when we were up in Melrose. He seemed really confident the show was going very well. He was enjoying it. It seemed like the Luchas were enjoying it. I think they have a good structure of management and hierarchy where
they got
a lot of good
Ginger Act's in charge of it, and he's pretty well respected in Mexico for the work he's done there. So
yeah,
I think that's a big part of it as well. And it seems like they're paying well and taking care of the stars, and they're going about it smartly. They're not paying big money for guys that they don't have to do, and they're taping everything in that one venue, and they got their crowd in there. And supposedly John says he draws good heat from they did some house shows, and he said he was drawing good heat, so they're drawing some good crowds, and they know where to stay. They're staying in the Southwest, which is smart. So yeah, they're doing a lot of good things. But I think we should move along because we got a lot more to talk about still.
Yeah, so. I would like to see them maybe go to other parts of the country. I think it would be kind of cool. I mean, obviously, eventually, a lot of it's based in that part of the country, and that's fine. But it would be cool to see them elsewhere. I think seeing them grow would be nice. But no, please keep watching. I'm not saying stop watching. All I'm saying is that specific storyline I would have liked to have seen gone on a few more weeks. But please keep watching the show. I think the show is tremendous. And yes, I will admit it took me a couple weeks, but I've grown on Lismar Jr. has grown on me.
Yep.
I didn't like him at first. I thought he was a lazy bastard, but maybe that's the reason he's a good heel. But now he's really settling in. So keep watching. 10 a.m. Saturday mornings, MTV2, DVR it if you're not home, or Saturdays are busy. I usually watch it on Sundays, and then of course I take notes, and we have a nice segment here on our show. So, why don't we? Wow, we did a lot there. Wow, we got a lot more to go.
Yeah, I know.
I tell you, this is a great. We're glad that you're with us this week because we got a lot to talk about. But we are going to take a quick breather. Let's recharge the batteries. We still got a lot of ranting and bitching and attacking to do. So why don't we take a break and listen to our wonderful friends at WrestleChat.net. Because
P.S. Your cunt is in the sink.
How many pro wrestling news websites do you visit to get your daily news? 3, 4, maybe 5? Do yourself a favor and make that number 1. WrestleChat.net, the only professional wrestling news site that brings you all wrestling news all day long, and is home of the critically acclaimed Still Real to Us podcast, starring former CZW, ROH, and ECW announcer Eric Gargiulo and the champ Jeff Beck. That's WrestleChat.net. WrestleChat, it's where it's at.
I don't think Lord Alfred Hayes ever said what we heard before.
P.S. Your cunt is in the sink.
Of course, go to WrestleChat.net often. They always an excellent source for your wrestling news and notes. WWE, TNA, and of course the champ and the announcer with their awesome podcast. Mm-hmm. And they have a great message board as well. And while you're there, just look to the right of the screen, and you will see the link. You'll see our little friend there, the gnome, which means you can click on it and go right to our Podbean page and listen to this show. So go to our friends at WrestleChat.net, your home for everything professional wrestling.
We're top 9, 1 out. Jason Mott is in. Rangers down to the last 2 outs, down a run.
No, I got some issues with not the teams, but the more I'm listening to this, the more I'm getting more aggravated. You're probably not going to agree with me on this, and that's fine. I'm hoping some of our sports fans will roll with it, but I'm going to use it from a different analogy that maybe you'll understand.
All right, let's get into the news then. Karen Polland wanted us to talk about the WWE Network, which you don't need to prod us about.
No, not at all.
They got some stories that some shows rather they've been hinting about and putting ideas about up, and there are 2 outs now in this game. WrestleMania flashback show, the tour of the Divas bus, the Ring Rat Express, the reality show in which the legends are kept in a house, which would be very, very interesting, I think.
Depends who they use.
So that's what Karen wanted us to talk about, and we do have a plethora of updates. One is that they want the start of the network to actually coincide with WrestleMania, so they're gunning for April for this thing. That is the newest update I saw tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to the hierarchy in my building and to see what the update is on that, because that's a big deal. I mean, that means things got to be started to be talked about in my facility by the start of the year.
Yep.
Really.
Oh yeah.
Because they're gonna need space. They got to get they're gonna have to get a master control bill. I mean, I'm using a lot of technical mumbo jumbo, but my PIC understands what I'm saying. They got to get this. They got to get stuff set up. I'll leave it at that.
Can you see
to
get
the network to launch?
Can you try and get these 3 links? They're not loading on my computer.
The first one here says WWE issued a survey today, and this was today or a couple days ago. WWE issued a survey wondering if fans would be willing to change their cable providers in order to get the new WWE Network. The survey noted that WWE's 8 secondary pay-per-views would be featured on the network while the Big 4 wouldn't. Of course, talking about Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. This would be a change of direction from what was originally planned with all the pay-per-views on the network. I mean, I agree with that. You can't give them WrestleMania for nothing.
No, I think this makes much more sense than what they were talking about. A couple weeks ago, we talked about this, where it sounded like the Big 4 would be on the network. No, this makes way more sense. Because this actually works well, I think. If you get those 8 pay-per-views out of there, now you only have the 4 that you're asking people to pay for. You build up the anticipation, and then you're having basically the Clash of the Champion level shows on your own network. Which is a tremendous idea. Right. You're better off getting people to pay, whatever, $6 or $7 a month for this network, knowing they're going to get all these big shows. And, you draw your advertising, and I'm guessing they probably either do sponsored or do, limited commercials, I'm guessing, on them. And to me, that makes a lot more sense. Then you can do your post-game show, your pre-game show, everything else, make it live and do your thing. And now you're off and running and you get your 4 big on pay-per-view. I think that is the future. I think that's the way they should be going. I think pay-per-view is kind of a dying medium at this point. So I think this would be a very shrewd move if they do it. And I think it makes a lot more sense than what we heard 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I agree. The second news story I just opened. The name of the first show on the upcoming WWE Network will be called WrestleMania Rewind. Yep. After a vote from WWE fans, WrestleMania Rewind beat out WrestleMania Revisited, which I actually kind of like that one a little more. WrestleMania Flashback and WrestleMania Review, which sounds like something we would do. Yes. The description of the show is, quote, a retrospective on the greatest entertainment spectacular of all time, WrestleMania. The show will transport the WWE Universe back to a single WrestleMania in a 3-episode series
starting with the show of shows, thrilling debut at Madison Square Garden in 1985, all the way to WrestleMania 28 in Miami. So good, they are going to do all of them. That's awesome.
And it sounds like each one's going to be 3 parts, huh?
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
If I'm hearing that right.
Which means my PIC. I hate to tell you, buddy, you're going to have to sit through a 3-parter on WrestleMania 2. It's just the way
fine. I don't, if I'm getting... Well, it sounds like they're actually going to show the pay-per-view. That's what it sounds like to me. If I'm reading that right, they're going to show the actual WrestleMania and then have, like bits in between documentary talking about the show. Like, I don't think it's just going to be a documentary for 3 hours. Are you reading that the same way I am?
No, well, it does say back to a single WrestleMania 3-episode series. So maybe it's going to be... You know what they may do? They may kind of do what they did when they released that WrestleMania 3 DVD.
Right, yep.
Like, do the show and then have, like, little insert balloons, like, pop-up video of people talking, of like, Hall of Famers, legends, current guys talking about these matches. That's
what it seems like to me. And I think I thought I read something somewhere that made it seem like it was going to be more like that, where they'd actually be showing the... the whole WrestleMania itself with these tidbits and documentary stuff inserted into it. So
that'll be a lot of fun to watch. Yeah. I think that's tremendous. That's tremendous. So there you go. If you are, and we talk about them on our vintage vaults, if you don't have the, if you don't have the pay-per-views, if you don't have them in your collection, shit, tape those. Why not?
Game one is over. St. Louis is hung on.
Okay. So that's the first show. Okay, the next news tidbit, and mine's rating to low too. Here we go. Okay, this actually I think could be hilarious. And I talked to the Clown Prince, Matt Rotella, about these options. Okay, WWE is asking fans to help name a program starring the craziest, most colorful legends for their soon-to-be-launched WWE Network. WWE.com describes the program as a reality series featuring many of your favorite WWE legends all forced to live under one roof. See what happens when the most colorful and combustive personalities in WWE shack up, break bread, and bruise egos. So in other words,
whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paperboy, eating MTV. Miss your old familiar friends, waiting just around the bend. Everywhere you look.
Does that mean that Matt Rotella will actually watch it?
Yes.
What it is, in essence, folks, it's for you reality fans. It's in essence a wrestling version of Big Brother. Is in essence what it is. Although let me tell you something. Yeah, in essence, though, could think about it. WWE legends and Dave Coulier. Hell, yes. Why not?
Cut it out.
We know Matt Rotella would definitely watch that. Okay, here were the options. Tell me which one you liked. WWE House of Fame, WWE Old Timer Acres, WWE Retired and Rowdy Roommates, Old School Yard, or Legends House.
I would prefer the enlarged Hartley House.
I voted
of course, for did you even get the 90210 reference there? Steve Sanders' mom was on the Hartley House. Enlarged?
Yes.
No, nothing.
Yes, I did. Steve Sanders, the greatest, one of the greatest half bad guys, half sympathetic guys in the history of television. I voted for House of Fame because I thought that was cool. Although I do like Old School Yard. I think that's kind of neat. I have a feeling they're going to take House of Fame. I think that's going to be the one they pick. Obviously, we want. You know who they're going to pick. You know who they're going to put in there.
Well,
they're going to try and get.
In there.
Well, you know the Iron Sheik's going to be in there.
He has to be. Although I don't know, he may be a little too risque for them.
He might be a little too old too. Well, yeah. Who knows? They'll probably put Slaughter in there.
Well, your boy Duggan will be in there.
Well, I thought maybe you had this queued, but don't even bother. We'll save it for the balls. He's going to be in there too, and I'm sure he'll be walking around with boogers hanging out his nose and saying.
Maybe Coco will show up. Hopefully, that'd be good. I'd love to have.
Come on, tell me you would not love Dusty in there.
Well, listen, that's my bathroom. Stop going in there. But you know what would be cool is if it would be. I don't think he'd ever do it, but if Brett was in there as like the one sane guy in all these guys, I think that'd be really funny.
Nikolai Volkov in a pink bathrobe.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many possibilities. Yeah, Repo Man hanging out, and there's a lot of things they could do.
I was going to say, you would have a whole new library. Oh, no, I was just going to say, and you could continue your thought, but you would just have a whole new library of audio cuts.
I think this network just has so many possibilities. If they just commit to it and do it right and don't give up 3 months in, and if they really, really make it what it could be, I mean, I don't know what else we'd watch on TV. I'd probably just be watching this nonstop. As much as I love on demand, I'd have to cancel it because I'd never watch that because I'd just be watching this probably like constantly. So
yeah, exactly. I agree. I think it'd be tremendous, and I'll have it. And I mean, I've been loyal to. I guess you know what? I've been loyal to DirecTV now for 8 years. Since I moved to Norwalk in 2003, I've had DirecTV for 8 years. But if WWE Network is not on here, I will drop it in a heartbeat. So, if anything, I may actually call DirecTV and say, look, you better get the WWE Network or I'm done. I might as well just say it now. Because if we don't get it, then that's the end of that. And look at this in the background here in the chateau. Bam Bam Bigelow is making his God rest his soul. He would be great on a show like this. Could you imagine him sitting there?
Well, he already did 57 episodes of a show like that.
Well, yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. So there's the network update. Oh, and the other update that we said is that they are launching in April. So we already mentioned that. So
all right, here's a couple other quick stories, and then we got to get to a bigger one. It said that Vince McMahon has developed a love-hate relationship with the Divas. The mentality is that both Raw and SmackDown have to have at least one segment with the Divas. He's convinced the Divas segment is needed because it draws in a certain demographic. When the Divas segments and matches are actually on, though, it said Vince feels they're a waste of time, and this is why he has Michael Cole act the way he does. So. I think he feels the same way as everyone else probably with the Divas. So,
yeah, I know.
Necessary evil. But this is the one I want to talk about as well. According to the PW Torch, SmackDown last week got a 2.23, up from the 2.02 last week, which was also up. They averaged 3.17 million viewers. And on the cable TV Friday night, SmackDown ranked number 5 in total viewers and number 1 in its time slot among key male demographics. And they actually beat Impact. SmackDown's ratings increase appeared to come from an older male demographic above the age of 49. So weird. I don't know. Are they just into Mark Henry? I don't know what's going on all of a sudden with SmackDown, but it's good to see, and I'm hoping that they realize that, maybe what they have going is working, and they don't try and, meddle with it too much and mess it up.
I think the other reason is that, I don't know, maybe one has something to do with the other, but Raw has just been absolutely horrendous to watch.
Yeah.
Maybe people are like, you know what, maybe SmackDown, all these years, and you, JR, you and I have talked about it a long time on various conversations, radio shows, and road trips. SmackDown has always been the better wrestling show, ever since the brand split. It is, in a lot of years, people kind of ignored it because the characters were better on Raw. But I think we're finally getting to the point now where people want to see good wrestling. And I'm sorry, right now, whether it's on Raw or not, just the lack of creativity on that show right now, I think, is taking away from it.
Yep.
And I think people are going on SmackDown and enjoying the in-ring product.
Yep, I agree. And hopefully they keep it going. Like I said, hopefully they don't say, oh, this is getting popular, we're going to start, working on it and making it, improving it and whatever else. Hopefully they just leave it alone.
Exactly.
All right, so here's our next news story, and of course what we were talking about earlier regarding the E60. So this, of course, regarding Scott Hall. Kevin Nash stated during last week's episode of Live Audio Wrestling that Scott Hall has re-entered rehab. Stephanie McMahon, WWE's Executive Vice President of Creative Development Operations, appears in E60 story on Hall's descent from wrestling superstar to a broken man battling alcoholism and drug addiction. Of course, that aired tonight. It airs again at 2 a.m. on your DVRs and ESPN2 if you want to set them. She says WWE has sent Hall to rehab multiple times and spent in the 6 figures on efforts to get him sober. It's the most amount of money we've spent on anyone. I just want Scott to get the help he needs and decide for himself he needs the help. It makes me sad. I don't want anyone to pass away prematurely or otherwise. Scott is really an incredibly talented performer, larger than life, charismatic. He's a father and he's a friend. It'll be a shame for him to pass away. And then she also said, in addition to the substance abuse program, we also have cardiovascular training. We do blood checks, physicals, we do concussion testing. We're about maintaining health and well-being of our superstars. Superstars today are businessmen. They realize the healthier they maintain their bodies, the better they'll be able to perform. So there you go. Scott Hall back in rehab. And, of course, we're looking forward to checking out that E60 piece. Already a few people on the Nation page have told us that it was very good. So I'm sure ESPN always does these things well. So.
Okay, so that's what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at my DVR, and this E60 at 2 a.m. is the one you're talking about?
Yep.
Okay, I just recorded it, so I'll have it. So I'll be able to watch it, and we'll talk about it next week.
And also 2 shout-outs of things you need to check out per our Place to Be Nation page is the Memphis Heat documentary. J.R. Senior D'Amato said it was phenomenal. I've actually heard that elsewhere as well. And also the Card Subject to Change documentary, which is on Netflix right now, is also supposed to be pretty good, based on indie shows and whatnot. That's from Brett Carlson. So thank you, fellas, for that information. We'll check those out. I've heard very good things about the Memphis Heat DVD, so I'm curious to see that one.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So there's your news and notes. So do we have anything else? I think we've covered everything, right? We got through our list? Yes, we did. Okay. So there's our news and notes, brought to you, of course, by our good friends at WrestleChat.net. So go there as often as you can for all of your news and notes. And, of course, as I mentioned, just look to the right of the page, and you'll see the link to right here, Place to Be Podcast. It is now time for what looks to be PTB Nation's favorite segment on our headline show, and that is...
The place to be, Asshole
of the Week.
We got to get that time.
Yes, we're getting that down. We are getting it down, though. We are getting it down. Last week we had a three-way tie, and I got to be honest with you, PIC. I remember two of them. It was the Boston Red Sox, WWE Creative,
and
I can't remember the third one.
For shitting on Jim Ross.
I thought that was Creative.
No,
was that,
Creative.
Or did we just?
Yeah, Creative was just for botching everything else, I think.
Oh, it's for making Raw miserable. Okay.
And I'm
Vince
putting the call out to the nation. We need one of you to step up and track these. If you can go back and write them down and keep a little sheet for us. Greenhouse, one of you guys, Faf, D'Amato, Ferreira, someone, we need to get on this for us and track these. Or
Help
you
us
know,
out.
A guy we haven't mentioned yet that's become a big fan. I don't know if he listens to headlines. I know he's a Vault guy. He's our buddy Glenny Butler from Glenny Bun from the.
Glenny Bun, yeah.
Doom. Become a big fan lately. So he's posted on the wall a couple times. We need him to. He's a spreadsheet king, so maybe he can help us out with this stuff as well.
You know who I'd like to see? I might be tempting fate here, but you know who I'm looking forward to maybe enjoying our shows? What's that guy? Trent Reznor 7 or whatever his name was.
He hasn't been around a long time.
Yeah, he was the crazy one. Yeah. Okay, so it was a three-way tie last week between the Boston Red Sox, WWE Creative, and Vince. Vince for firing JR, Creative for just sucking at Raw, and then the Red Sox for being a bunch of obviously alcoholic delinquents.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna have an overwhelming winner this week.
Yeah. Why don't you know what? I'll read them this week because you've written them. I'll give you a break. I'll give you a breather. You read them the last couple weeks, so I'll read them this week. We begin with the Hot Scott, Kieran Polland. Hulk Hogan for two reasons. One, for thinking that it's smart for him to get back in the ring even after 8 back surgeries. And two, because, if the rumors are true, he prevented Bobby Roode from winning the world title on Sunday. What an absolute boneheaded move. Doesn't matter if Roode was ready or wasn't ready. You've wasted months of storylines on the BFG series and building up Roode for months. What was the point if the winner didn't end up getting the title? Okay. Corey Ferreira, Hulk Hogan for apparently changing the outcome of the TNA title match at Bound for Glory and him wanting to make Jeff Hardy the centerpiece of TNA and not a homegrown TNA guy like an AJ or a Robert Roode, but another damn WWE talent. I'm over this guy. Okay. Austin Pfaff, Hulk Hogan, enough said. Matt Souza, Hulk Hogan. Mike Wilkinson, I have no vested feelings in Impact Wrestling, so I'm going to go with the guy who left the tip for the waitress to lose some weight. It's going viral now. That's interesting.
You could stand to lose a few pounds. That's what he wrote on the bill.
Oh, lovely. Then he adds, by the way, I was listening to the Survivor Series. Oh, this is something separate. Well, I'll read it anyway.
Yeah, whatever.
I was listening to the Survivor Series podcast, and I love the El Giante stuff.
Who doesn't?
And Justin's accent with this was reminding me of something, and it finally came to me. It is a hybrid of Triumph the Insult Comic Dog and Adam Sandler Goat Skit. You guys rock and keep up the great work, those damn fins.
Well, obviously, I thought it was my Borat, but apparently my Borat is bad enough that it's... I guess I could see a little Triumph. I'm not sure about the Goat guy. Mike Wilkinson, go fuck yourself.
Oh, God. Okay. Kevin Bowers says, I was going to go with Mike Vick for having to sit out a series for having dirt in his face. Did he borrow Tom Brady's skirt this week or what?
Boom.
But I got to go with Hulk Hogan for making the boneheaded suggestion to not give the title to Robert Roode after being pushed to the moon for the past month and a half and still getting behind that piece of shit, Jeff Hardy. Jason Greenhouse, Hulk Hogan, brother. The master of the apostrophe, J. Arsenio D'Amato. The two Jims, Schwartz and Harbaugh, for acting like wrestlers. Like wrestling, it was incredibly entertaining, but professional, not so much. WWE should have put them in a hell in a cell. Schwartz said, "Are you serious, bro?" to Harbaugh. For those that don't know, after the Niners defeated the Lions at Ford Field last week for the Lions' first loss, Harbaugh walked up to Schwartz. Instead of shaking his hand, whispering in his ear, saying, "Great game, nice job, see you down the line," Harbaugh gives him a very animated handshake, slaps him on the back, almost shoves him, and then runs away.
He was just excited. I don't know.
And Well, you know what? I can't. We'll get more into this during the picks, but I'm not that upset because Harbaugh did it to when Harbaugh was at Stanford, he did it to what the hell's his name? Pete Carroll when he was at USC, right. And I despised them anyway, so I didn't mind. So either way, I didn't care. Jay Hinchy says Hulk Hogan for screwing Bobby Roode over huge at BFG. He is so out of touch and has no effing idea how to run a wrestling company. Who cares if he wasn't ready? You won't know until you try. WWE has put the belt on numerous guys who may not have been ready, but guess what? Most have worked out. So Hulk, you put wrestling on the map, but please, for the love of God, go away. And our good friend Matt Mars, who's been hopping on more lately. Yes. I'm going to say the fat greaseball who ran in screaming, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa!"
That's not a nice way to talk about Scott. Come on,
and and was trying to break up the Schwartz and Harbaugh fight. Dude, let them fight. Ha ha. You talking about Scott Bigelow? You know, I know he was big and all, but he's since passed away. No, and you and I were going to find his burger place in middle of Pennsylvania, and we never got a chance to.
The guy who looks like Paul Giamatti broke them up, but you know, I actually, to me, a bigger asshole, not the guy who broke them up or them, is ESPN and all the other media that kept harping the shit out of this thing for 2 straight days. It was ridiculous. And then Chris Berman's on that crying like, oh, you know, we can't even talk about the game. We're going to talk about this. No, you don't have to. No one's making you talk about it. Talk about the fucking game.
Shut up. Exactly.
But, you know, since I've been accused lately of nepotism or selfishness or whatever and ignoring the nation, I think it's very clear that this week's PTB Asshole of the Week is none other than the immortal Hulk Hogan.
Exactly. So.
So, there you go. Even though I think a lot of it maybe would have been alleviated, you know, if that thread was put up after the spoilers came out. But
right, but you know what? But though, if people didn't, but our PTB Nation always pays attention, and if they wanted to change their minds, they would have gone and done it. So they didn't. So they still, you know. You know what it is? You know what it is, JR? I don't think it's the long-term plan of the whole Bobby Roode, James Storm. We agree that that's 2 awesome guys, and I'm looking forward to seeing maybe what happens. I think they're just tired of his bullshit, period.
Yeah, I agree. You know, if it leads to a better decision here, then we got to reconsider things.
Well, we'll see. We got a whole week. We'll see what happens down the line. So there is your so in the 4th week, right? Is this our 4th week or 5th? I think it's our 4th week of the PTB Nation Asshole of the Week. The winner for this week is Hulk Hogan. So there you go. Okay. Let us now do a quick Major League update and my second rant. Of course, as my PIC has updated throughout the night, the St. Louis Cardinals have taken Game 1 of the 2011 World Series. They defeated the Texas Rangers 3-2 tonight at Busch Stadium. The reason I'm pissed off, and finally, you know, I know it's been going on for a few years, but it really wasn't bad because it didn't, even if it didn't happen.
Actually, I know where you're going with this, and I agree fully. I have a feeling I know where you're going.
But finally, it really pisses me off this year. I didn't even think about it last year, but it happened last year too. I really think it's absolute horseshit that the All-Star Game decides who gets home field in the World Series. What the fuck is that all about?
Yeah, I agree 100,000 billion%.
That is stupid.
Okay, condominium on the moon.
Why should and a hole right through the boat? Why in the name of God is a game that involves 90% of players who aren't even going to be in the fucking playoffs?
Playoffs?
Last year. Yeah, Jim Mora. Playoffs? And certainly not when he was with the Colts. They're certainly not going to make the playoffs this year. But let me ask you something, PIC. And then you lucked out 2 years ago. But could you have imagined you won 100 games in 2009, correct? And you definitely finished with a better record than the Phillies, correct? In 2009?
So. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure you did. I think you won 100 games. Could you imagine if it was because fucking Jose, and I'm going to use the Mets for an example, Jose Reyes drove in, I don't know, some hump on the Astros to win the All-Star game, and you would have had to play Game 6 at Citizens Bank Park. Tell me you would not have, and I know you. No, and I know our good friend Dr. G and most Yankee fans, you would have been ripping pissed if the Phillies had the home field in that World Series.
No, I think it's horseshit, especially since the Cardinals are a fucking wild card team. They're not even a division winner. They were a wild card team. So you have a wild card team hosting the team that had the second best record in the American League. And I know part of the issue is that people feel, or baseball feels, because of the unbalanced schedule, it's not fair to have the best record. But that's more fair than this. I mean, a guy for the Brewers hits a home run to win the All-Star game. and that means the Cardinals get home field advantage over the Rangers. Like, how is that?
But even worse, the Brewers. The Brewers made the playoffs. A guy in the freaking Pirates. Yeah. You know, or the Nationals, or I'll even say the Mets.
Yeah. You know, it's ridiculous. It is stupid. I agree with you 100%.
Now, not everything. Now, historically, this is the weird thing. The home field advantage in the World Series never went to the best record. Before the All-Star game, the National League and the American League used to rotate. That's how it used to be.
Right.
Because the National League would host the even
that's not
years.
Fully fair though.
No, it's not at all. The National League would host the even years because in the 86 World Series, even though the Mets had the best record overall, they hosted the World Series. But if it was an odd year, 85 or 87, the Red Sox would have had home field, which really would have pissed me off. But that's just arbitrary. Then they did this whole thing because the All-Star game was starting to lose viewers. Now, all of a sudden, the All-Star game picks the home field. But that's crazy.
Right.
So some guy that plays for a team that at the All-Star break is, 37 and 72 can win the game for the National League. And now the 98 win, right? I think they won 98 games. 98 win Rangers have to play on the road against the, fucking 87 win Cardinals?
Yep.
That's BS.
I agree.
Just do the best record, period. I don't care. You know what? So the schedule's unbalanced. Tough shit. All right? It's just the way life works. The Astros are moving to the American League next year, which makes no sense. I don't know why they just don't put the Brewers back. They put the Brewers in the National League 13 years ago. Just put them back in the
because they want a team for the West, and I think they figure Houston and Texas will have a good rivalry.
Well, I thought so, too. I thought it was kind of neat, though, to have the two Texas teams in opposite leagues. I would have pulled somebody else, but it doesn't matter to me. I don't really care. But I think it's just ridiculous. I thought you were going to disagree with me. I'm pleasantly surprised you agree with me.
No, I agree 100%. Yeah.
Because you lucked out 2 years ago. The Yankees had the home field in 2009 because the American League won the All-Star game like 15 years in a row. But here's an interesting thing. Maybe it did rotate because there must have been a shift at some point because it went to odd years because you're during your dynasty. Because 96 you had home field.
I thought it was best record for a while.
Well, you definitely didn't have a better record than the Braves in 96. The Braves definitely had a better record.
Oh, right, yeah. So it must have been alternating. And then 98, they didn't have it, though.
98, they did have it. The Yankees had the home field in 98. Because you won Game 4 in San Diego.
Yep.
99, you didn't have it.
Okay.
99, that series opened in Atlanta. But then 2000, the series against the Mets, it opened in the Bronx.
And the Yankees only won, 87 games that year? So they probably didn't have a better record.
Exactly. And then 2001, the series opened in Arizona. So it must have shifted at some point where the National League then got it. I don't know how it worked. But every other, well, the NHL and the NBA, it goes by best record. Right. No, actually, NBA, it's head-to-head. And same thing with NHL. Well, NHL, it's best record. Of course, the Super Bowl is on a neutral site. So, You know what I think would be funny? I read somebody tweeted Tim Brando today in the Tim Brando Show, which is his radio show that we air on the network that I'm a client, who's my client, CBS. That the guy who drives in the winning, who gets considered the game-winning RBI in the All-Star game, hosts the World Series. So the whole World Series should be neutral.
No, it's a unique idea.
But that would suck because a lot of the teams get the revenue and all that.
No, you have to do the home field advantage. You do.
Yeah. So anyway, I didn't want to go on too much I didn't want to eat up too much time, but that was something that's been on my mind that the Rangers got last year. The same thing happened. The Giants had the home field.
Yep.
But for some reason, it didn't bother me as much because the Giants, I don't think had as bad a record as. Well,
they were a division winner, right?
The Giants? No, they were the wild card.
Oh.
I think.
That pissed me off too. Then so.
Oh no! Wait a minute. Did San Francisco win the division? Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah,
right?
They
overtook. All right, so never mind then. But they didn't have a better record than Texas, did they?
That I don't know.
That I don't know. It was close. So it wasn't as big a deal last year because they both won the division.
Texas,
it might have only won.
Didn't Texas have home field against the Yankees? No,
yes.
They didn't. I don't know. It doesn't matter. No one else cares.
I don't remember.
So
but anyway, let's put it this year. It's much more glaring.
Yeah.
Than it has been in the past. So anyway, I'm glad the Cardinals squeaked their way in at the end and got the home field in the World Series against a team that won 98 games.
Yeah. No,
and I don't want to hear this shit. Oh, good teams win road games. That's irrelevant.
No.
You play all year. You play all year to earn the chance to host.
The other thing that's unfair is the 5-game opening round, which is bullshit. You play 162 games and you get eliminated with 3 losses. I think you have to go at least best of 7. I think the 5 games, too much can happen in that. I don't think you get a true litmus test of the better team in 5 games.
Yeah, well, I think that's going to change. I have a feeling if they add a second wild card team,
I mean, there's no way that you tell me the Cardinals are a better team than the Phillies. And maybe they have a little bit better of an offense, but come on. Over 7, I think the Phillies would have ended up winning that.
No, I agree.
And same with the Yankees. But
yeah, I'm not complaining. I'm glad the Phillies are out. And yeah, I think if that series went longer, I think you guys might have had a shot. I probably would have won. I don't know if
they didn't deserve to anyway. Whatever. Detroit played better. So all right, let's move on.
But anyway,
did you want to bitch about the Red Sox, or are we just gonna move on to football? What do you
want? Well, let's just talk about quickly what transpired this past week. We talked about it. We mentioned it briefly on our vault, but we want to talk about it tonight. John Henry, the managing or whatever the hell he is, the
bumbling fool.
Yeah, the head idiot of Idiot Nation, the Red Sox, was on the Sports Hub with the afternoon show. You know those guys better than I do.
Yeah, Felger, Michael Felger and Tony Maserati, the best show in this area.
Yeah, and they chewed him up and spit him out. And they were talking mostly about the leaking of the info about Tito Francona's painkillers and something about his son, and he's like, well, it had to have come from higher sources. Well, it wasn't from anybody in management. Well, then who the hell said something?
And then he was accusing them. They're like, you guys want to keep talking about this. And Felger was like, Red Sox, sources said it, not us. We're just talking about it. We didn't break the news. And, there's a lot going on about who's at fault and who did it. And a lot of people saying Henry should not be really allowed to talk. Because he came out later in another interview and said that he was against a Carl Crawford signing, which is not a good thing to be saying.
No.
And then he's saying, no, the stuff about the pitching, the guy's drinking the beer and that shit, it doesn't matter. But then he's blaming the pitcher's ERA in September for losing. And he kind of kept contradicting himself. And, I mean, good for him to come in there and stand up for himself and give them, an hour and 10 minutes of his time to combat them. But I don't think he's just someone that's equipped to really go in there and do that kind of stuff. That's usually why that other douchebag, Larry Lucchino, is involved in that kind of stuff, because
he's clearly the bigger asshole than John Henry is.
And I heard that they said there were sources within the Cubs saying that Lucchino's the toughest man they've ever dealt with, the most unreasonable guy they've ever dealt with during this whole Theo Epstein thing. But apparently, it looked like that deal may be off a couple days ago, but now they're saying looks like it may be done on Thursday.
Okay. And one more thing now that seems to be coming out, that the beer drinking wasn't just in the clubhouse, but was actually in the dugout.
Yeah, no, they've actually come out and denied that. Lackey, this is the first time Lackey and Beckett have said anything, and now they're denying that. So maybe it's not true, but what the hell's the difference anyway? Like, hey, we didn't do it in the dugout. We only did it in the clubhouse. Okay,
I know,
so
really.
Big fucking deal.
And then some Red Sox fan today, and you know who it is. I'll just say his nickname: Grilled Cheese and Wetzel's Pretzels.
Yeah.
Kept saying that.
He's the king of pink hats. Became a fan in 2004.
Yeah, he did, and he admits it. He became a Red Sox fan in 2004 and a Patriots fan in 2001. Yeah, so how much of that can you really believe? And he said, well, they were doing shots of whiskey during Game 4 of the World Series. Yeah, but they were up like 7-0 in the 8th inning. I mean, that's different.
Yeah, well, they were doing whiskey shots.
Yeah. So anyway, so whatever. They're a train wreck, and I'm certainly not picking them for anything next year. So see what happened. Another curse. I did it. I finally did it to somebody else.
The true curse is, of course, when John Henry tweeted the curse of Mark Teixeira when they had swept the Yankees 8-0 at the beginning of 2009. And since then, it's been all downhill for the Red Sox. So I'd say it's the curse of the idiot John Henry tweeting. That's the true curse.
So anyway, all right.
There you go, Rob Houston. Hope you enjoyed.
And then one more thing, one more quick thing. The NBA today, the federal mediator met with the owners and players, and I have a feeling I think something's going to get taken care of by the end of the week.
Seems like it. Steve Nash tweeted that he was very optimistic that something was going on. So.
I telling you, man, I can't have no basketball at Christmas. I got to have it. I have the Knicks at noon, and then I have dinner, and then I watch the Lakers at 5:30. I have to have it, just like having the Cowboys on. I got to have my NBA. I don't know if I can go a season with, even though I don't even know what the Mike Brown era is going to bring.
I think they'll get it in. They have to.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Like Snooki and Gianni, they will be getting it in. So, all right, let's move on to the.
All right, and now the final chapter of our cornucopia of topics is. There we go. All right. I had a much better week last week. Do you have the? You and I were tied going into week 6. Do you have the standings in front of you? Where are we sitting at the moment?
I have 55, and you have 54.
Okay, so my PIC is forged ahead by a game in our year-long pick'em standings. We still have week 6? We still have 11 weeks left to go.
Yep.
All right, we have 6. We are still in the midst of buys. The 6 buys this week are the Buffalo Bills, the Cincinnati Bengals, the New England Patriots, the New York Giants, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the San Francisco 49ers are all off this week. So Jim Harbaugh has a week to jump around and act like a fool before he plays again. All right. We'll do all the 1 o'clock games. There is 7 1 o'clock games, 4 4 o'clock games. The Monday night, this Sunday night game is awful.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this Sunday night game is terrible. And the Monday night game's even worse.
Monday night schedule's been brutal.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad. But we'll get to those.
Sunday night's been a victim of circumstance.
Yes, exactly. It is Rumble 89. All right, let's start the 1 o'clock games, and why don't we jump right in with your team? We'll begin at the Snoopy Bowl, a.k.a. MetLife Stadium, where the JETS Jets rebounded after a hideous 3-game losing streak to whomp the Dolphins on Monday night. Golly whomp the Dolphins on Monday night, 24-6.
Yeah, you can say mollywop all you want, but I still was not very happy with that win. The offense still looked like they were stuck in the mud. They didn't get going until the second quarter, and you can't have the slow start against San Diego. That much I know. Miami also beat themselves. Matt Moore was atrocious. He was either missing receivers or overthrowing them and underthrowing them, and he's got an arm, but he's got nothing else. So, and Brandon Marshall had like 3 or 4 drops. So I was happy with the win. Darrelle Revis played well, and Sean Green finally started running a little bit, but I don't like the play calling. I still don't like Brian Schottenheimer. I don't know why they don't ever use the middle of the field, especially against Miami and New England, both softs over the middle of the field. Barely used Keller, barely used Holmes. And you find they gave Holmes the ball. Look at the play he makes. That's the kind of receiver he is. So why don't you give him the ball 8 or 9 times instead of 4 and see what he can do for you? Joe McKnight's been the one bright spot, really. He's been playing really well. So, of course, I'm going to pick the Jets here. But I'm not 100% confident. But they need to come out fast and hot. They cannot be dead until the second quarter and hope the defense keeps them in the game. Not against San Diego.
Yeah. As my PIC mentioned, the Jets are hosting the San Diego Superchargers. I'm going to take the Jets. I agree with you. I think they'll rebound, and I think they'll continue to kind of get their confidence back. It'll be a good game, though. Don't be surprised. I think Rivers is going to. Well, don't say Joe McKnight's a bright spot, but also obviously Revis Island, 2 picks.
Rivers played very well, but McKnight's been the surprising bright spot. But this is a very key stretch for them. These next 3 games, they got a bye in there, but they got San Diego, then they're against Buffalo, and then home for New England. So big 3-game stretch for them. They need to win at least 2 of these 3 and hopefully sweep them because they got to split with New England to have any chance maybe at the division. But the Buffalo game is going to be huge for the wild card.
Right. All right. So we both take the Jets at home over San Diego. We move on to Wembley Stadium in London, England.
The British Bulldogs are going to win whether he wants to or not.
Exactly. And the Berserker will finally get his chance here.
Yes.
Shooting off the bow against El Matador or whatever the hell. Who was it? No, it was Tatanka that faced him, right? Yeah.
Tatanka.
Anyway, it's the annual game. It's the annual game at Wembley Stadium. This year, it's actually the first time a team has played a second game at Wembley. This is the second game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They will host the Chicago Bears. Both teams had nice wins last week. The Bucks, you and I thought they weren't going to pull it off, but they did. They beat the Saints at home.
I think Sean Payton really affected that game. Him getting hurt and having his leg broken and all that other shit, I think that really actually hurt the New Orleans Saints in that game. I think they looked a little bit lost after that happened.
Yeah, and the Bears looked very impressive in mollywomping the Vikings on Sunday night. But you know what? I'm going with the Bucks here. I like the way they look right now. They're playing with a lot of confidence. Josh Freeman threw for 300 yards. The defense is looking pretty solid. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be hard-hitting, but I'm going to take the Bucks in this one.
I'm going to go Chicago. I want to take Tampa, but again, I know that was a good win, but I'm still kind of factoring the Sean Payton part of that. Basically, it's a home game, but not really. I think Chicago would probably have more cachet over there, just on a worldwide level, and a little bit more of a dynamic team. And they looked really good against Minnesota, so maybe they finally start to click. We'll see if they use them at Forte more. I like Chicago here. I think it'll be a good game. I don't think it'll be a blowout or anything, but I like Chicago to win.
Okay. We move on to Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, where the Carolina Panthers will host the Washington Redskins. First start for John Beck, the Cougar alum from BYU. I like Carolina in this game. I'm taking Cam Newton. I think Cam Newton's going to come out at home. I think he's going to have a nice game. I think Beck's going to struggle a little bit to get into the offensive flow. I've not been sold on Washington's defense much this year anyway. I'm going to take Carolina in this one.
Yep, I agree. I like Carolina here as well. John Beck, and Washington did not look good last week. And Carolina, very deceiving 1-5. They've been in every game. So I like Carolina here at home.
Okay. Move on to Ford Field in Detroit, where the Lions will host the Atlanta Falcons. And this is, I don't know if this is an upset or if this is, I don't know what you call this.
Detroit's favorite. So if you're taking Atlanta,
Detroit's
it is
favorite.
an upset. Yep.
I'm going to take an upset. I think Detroit's a little shell-shocked right now after losing on Sunday. I'm actually going to take the Falcons in this one.
I'm with you.
I think they need the win. I think they need the win. And Detroit's, I mean, they're not going to play horrible, but I think it's time for the growing pains to settle in a little bit. This is going to be the tough stretch for the Falcons.
I mean, I'm
going to take Atlanta.
And Detroit has a very good home field advantage, but Atlanta is a dome team as well. So they used to plan on that track, and they got very fast. You know, they got Michael Turner and Julio Jones and Roddy White, all can burn. Stafford been a little shaky the last few weeks. You know, they won, but his numbers have been great. Looks having some trouble, and now Javid Best looks like he may be out. And you know, they brought Ronnie Brown in there. Whatever. So I think Detroit comes back to earth again a little bit here. I think Atlanta gets what to them, with Tampa possibly losing and New Orleans getting back on the winning track. Atlanta really needs to keep pace with those two teams. So I think Atlanta gets it done here.
Yeah, I agree. So we both like the Falcons in this one. So that's. I guess, is that both our upsets? Are you using this one as your upset special?
No, I get another one.
Okay, so that's my upset of the week. Next, we go to Cleveland Browns Stadium, where the Browns will host the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks had a bye last week after that big win over the Giants. Colt McCoy has been consistent this year. He hasn't played consistently bad. He hasn't had hideous games. Well, no, not really. I mean, he's had some okay games.
Look, you want to be a good quarterback. Your team recovers an onside kick on the road, and you're just going to march down and get a field goal, and they go 4 and out against Oakland. I mean, come on.
Well, that was not impressive. No. But you know what? I'm going to give him a shot. I'm going to give him a shot here. I'm going to take the Browns at home. I think they can win this game.
All right, here's my upset special. I'm taking Seattle here. I've liked Seattle all year. I thought they were, a very good home team, a little shaky on the road, but seeing that they went into the Giants and came back on them and won that game, and I think the defense is pretty solid. And regardless if it's Charlie Whitehurst or Tavares Jackson, they'll play their little ball control game and wait to pick apart opportunities. And Cleveland I had some hope for, but they have not looked good lately. I think Seattle goes in there and steals one.
Okay, so we differ on that one. We go to LP
What's
Field
record, by the way? Do you have it right there?
Seattle is. Let me take a quick look. I think they're 2-3.
All right, I don't know if they were in striking distance at all in that division. I know the Niners have a death grip on it right now, but
let me see where they are.
Seattle
they're 2-3, but they are in second place.
Yep.
Yeah, they're 2-3. So they are 2-3.
Okay.
So they could go to 500 if they win this week. We move on to LP Field in Nashville, where the Tennessee Titans will host the Houston Texans. This is what you remember how you were talking about big boy games?
Yeah.
I think this is another big boy game for the Texans. If they want to continue to really step up, this is a game they got to win. I'm going to take them. Chris Johnson has been very Jekyll and Hyde. I know Hasselbeck has thrown the ball well, but I think this is Houston's game. Even though Mario Williams is hurt, I think Schaub is gonna shred that secondary. I like the Texans on the road.
Houston played very well, very gallantly in Baltimore. I still don't trust Matt Schaub at a big spot. He seems to crap himself quite a bit lately. Tennessee coming off a bye, rested, have some time to game plan. Houston probably a little worn out, a little tired. Houston, we keep saying if they're going to do it, this is the year. They have to get it done, and they just haven't done it, and they haven't really run away. But this is a two-team division. This is a must-win game for them. I'm taking Tennessee at home, though. Tennessee's good at home. They beat Baltimore at home. The defense is solid. Matt Schaub, without Andre Johnson still, without Mario Williams on the defense. And I just don't trust them in a big spot yet. And I think Tennessee shows that they get a little more veteran presence than Houston does.
Okay. And probably the most intriguing and the most drama-filled 1 o'clock game on Sunday.
You have to savor this because it may not be for much longer. Although, since they didn't can him during the bye week, he's probably there for the year, I'm guessing.
Well, I've got some interesting inside information.
Okay, sure.
About this situation. Of course, we're talking about the Miami Dolphins, and this week they host the Denver Broncos, which of course is a huge deal because this is the first start for Tim Tebow. And by the way, they are celebrating the 2-year anniversary or something stupid of Florida's national championship in Tebow's junior year, and so it was 2008.
Yep.
How ironic.
Yeah.
But I was at
not really ironic.
Right, but I was at my alma mater, the University of New Haven, this past weekend. The Chargers continue to play well, still ranked in the top 20 in the D2 poll. Defeated AIC 34-20 this past week. But I was sitting behind Tony Mortale, who was one of our old assistant coaches, and a very good friend of Tony Sperano, and he was an assistant under Tony when Tony was at our school. And we were chatting, and Tony is getting a real raw deal there. He was Bill Parcells' guy, but the franchise and a lot of officials down there were never big fans of his.
No, and then they were shopping around for Harbaugh in the offseason. I mean, it was obvious they don't like him.
Yeah, and it pisses me off because Bill Parcells left him a complete piece of shit team down there. No skill position players. The defense is abysmal. No secondary help. He's patchworking together players. And his first year there, they won the division. And I hate to say it, but one of your former boys, Chad Pennington, kind of helped him along there. But he's gotten a raw deal. Now, if he leaves Miami, and I'm curious to what our man Andy Flanagan thinks of this. I would love to see Sperano coach the Giants. I think he'd fit perfectly. He grew up a Giant fan. And I think
it's going to be a few years before he gets another gig. I'm sorry. I think he'll either have to go back to college or get a coordinator job.
He'll get a coordinator job.
Yeah, I can't see him getting another job right away.
But he got dicked. I think he's getting dicked over down there. They said the team, the media is trying to help him out and cut him some slack. The team just doesn't want him there. It really pisses me off, and that's why another reason why Bill Parcells has become such a freaking scumbag. But I'm going to actually take the Dolphins here. I think they're angry. I think they're pissed off that, again, they may had a shot in the game against the Jets Monday night because the Jets didn't start off well. And this whole Tebow thing, and it seems like more Bronco fans. I think Miami's going to come out angry, and I think they're going to get their first win of the year on Sunday.
I disagree. I think they looked pretty awful. I don't think they have the talent to really get it done. Brandon Marshall is supposed to be their best player. Kept calling for the ball, and they kept throwing it to Darrelle Revis, and he kept dropping things. He runs out of bounds when no one's even near him. Matt Moore did not look good at all. He got rattled quite a bit. Their defense did not look that great, and that was against a struggling Jets offense. They kind of let them get going in the second half. And I think Tebow's kind of rolling right now a little bit. They're getting Demarius Moore back. Is that his name? Demarius Moore?
Yes.
No, or is that the guy in Oakland? They got similar names. Anyway, they're getting the young receiver back. Along, of course, they traded Brandon Lloyd. But I think with Tebow in there, going home, going into that whole big reunion thing, I think he's going to play well. I just think Miami's just overmatched, especially at the quarterback position right now. And I think Denver wins. I think Miami's going in the tank a little bit to try and get Andrew Luck at this point anyway. So I see Denver winning this.
Okay. I like to see Miami step up at home and play a spirited game and get a win on Sunday.
They may play well. I just don't think they win.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the 4 o'clock games. We begin at Alameda County Coliseum in Oakland, where the Raiders open with perfect song. Open with the Kansas City Chiefs, not open, but we'll open the new era with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh my God, what an awful trade!
This trade is absolutely ridiculous. It's fine to get a great quarterback, and really, by nature, just based on pure ability, Carson Palmer is a very good quarterback. No one's denying that.
Garbage since that knee injury, though.
But what the hell? Is this the post-Al Davis era? This is why I asked you last week the difference between when Al Davis died and when George Steinbrenner died. Steinbrenner at least knew the writing on the wall and set in place a hierarchy. I don't know what the hell this was, but they trade this year's first-round pick and a conditional pick in 2013, which could be a first-round pick, for a guy who may not even be around that long. And they're going to pay all that money that the Bengals are like, sure, well, here, want a 6-pack. Yeah,
they're not using them anyway.
You want a 30-pack and a friggin' phone card with that, too?
The worst part of this whole thing is, I saw it today, since Oakland, for 4 years of Carson Palmer, is going to be paying him $48 million. Cincinnati, thanks to the rookie scale, will be paying the 2 number 1 picks and Andy Dalton $21 million over their combined 12 years. And Andy Dalton...
And I love Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I think he's better than Carson Palmer at this point. Anyway, so yeah. I think Oakland... I know they're kind of trying to go all in because I think they have a shot to win this division. But there had to be someone else out there they could have gotten. They could have gotten Kyle Orton. And Denver said they were open to trading him to Oakland. They could have gotten Kyle Orton for like a 5th-round pick. You're telling me that the upgrade from Palmer to Orton is that big that you have to give it that much of a difference of picks? Plus, they have no 2, 3, 4, and 7 or something like that next year either. And also, I thought they liked Jason Campbell. They just talked about so highly of him, and now this obviously means he's gone as well because they're obviously committing to Carson Palmer. So,
well, they have to. Yeah. I mean, even if Campbell comes back healthy next year, he'll be the backup. He's going to be. So, where does this leave Terrell Pryor? You know,
they said they see him as a quarterback as well. So I don't get it. This is,
I don't get it either.
You know, this is like Indianapolis signing Kerry Collins for a 2-year deal now. He's probably never going to play again because they're just going to stick with Painter, I think. But to me,
but they are going to win this game, though. They are going to beat the Chiefs here.
No, I disagree. I think this was the time, perfect time for the Chiefs. Coming off a bye, been struggling mightily, kind of turned it around the last couple weeks. They gave San Diego a tough game, and I think they won 2 going into the bye, right? Are they 2-3?
Kansas City, yes. They've won
2-3.
Yeah.
I think they actually see an opening to maybe get back into things. It seems like they're getting back on track. I think Oakland ended up really blowing things here. They said Palmer's going to start, so I can't see him being that great. I think he's going to be rusty. Kansas City's got a decent defense, and Castle looked good that last game. You know, Oakland's running game obviously can run amok, but I think Kansas City steals this one. I do. I think they go into Oakland and kind of take advantage of the disarray coming off a bye, and I think they win this game. I think that this puts them back. If San Diego loses and they win, I mean, they're a game and a half out. You know, they already played them tough once, so we'll see.
Right.
For a team that we thought was dead in the water, they may still. Yeah, we had a lot of disagreements this week.
Yeah, no, it's good. I like that. Next, this we'll definitely agree on probably these next 3 games. We go to University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, where I've given up on the Cardinals. A rematch of Super Bowl, whatever number it was, 40-something, 43, I guess. In the same, well, no, I wasn't say that wasn't Tampa. Arizona Cardinals hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Cardinal defense sucks. I don't care how gimpy Ben Roethlisberger is. He'll pick this defense apart. I'm taking the Steelers.
Me too. Arizona's tough at home. Pittsburgh doesn't always play well on the road this year. I could see it being a little bit of a trap game, but I would never, ever pick the Cardinals. I don't trust them or Kevin Kolb, who's also blowing. I don't get why these teams feel the need to lock these quarterbacks up to long-term deals before they even see them play a game, but whatever.
Right. I agree. So we both take the Steelers.
Yep.
We go to Mall of America Field.
Actually, no, it's not. Sorry. Go ahead.
We go to Mall of America Field in Minneapolis, where the Vikings, who thoroughly disappointed me this week, thinking they were going to step up and win a game, and they totally laid an egg. What did AP have? Like 50 yards or something? And they lose to the Bears. This week they host Green Bay, continuing to just go on this magic carpet ride. Nobody's stopping them right now, and Minnesota is just in the way. So this is my lock of the week. Packers win big on the road.
It's not my lock, but yeah, they'll win big.
Okay. Our final 4:00 game, and I know we've been waiting to talk about this. From Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, the Dallas Cowboys host the St. Louis Rams. Rams coming off another loss. Or were they off? No, they were off last week. The Cowboys, of course, coming off that gut-wrenching loss on Sunday night, on Sunday to the Patriots. And I know everybody's been waiting for my opinion on this, and I'll tell you something right now. Before I talk about the Cowboys, and you can disagree with me all you want, and you can throw your jabs all you want, but the fact remains is Tom Brady is the Joe Montana of this generation. The guy is he can't throw a ball through a brick wall like Marino or Elway could. He's not fleet of foot, but the guy is ice cold. And when he needs and the Cowboy defense played their asses off on that last drive, and he got the ball exactly where it needed to be, and I can't fault him for that. The Cowboy defense played their ass off on Sunday. They forced 4 turnovers.
They did play very well. The thing with Brady is, and of course he's excellent, Hall of Famer. I'm not going to discredit that at all. However, he's only as good as his offensive line is, because if you hit him, he gets rattled, and he is not the same, just like any quarterback.
I agree.
But he is a big-time product of that offensive line in that system.
And he threw some pretty lousy balls on Sunday. The Cowboys did knock him around a bit.
He hasn't played that great this year, honestly. He's had a lot of shaky games. But he wins when it matters, and that's all that counts.
Yeah.
The difference between him, their offense, and the Cowboys' offense, touchdowns versus field goals.
I agree.
That's the difference.
And that's all play calling. That is not Romo. And I'm going to tell you something right now. If the Cowboy brass does not have faith to let Tony Romo throw in the fourth quarter, get rid of him.
Big issue.
Get rid of him.
Exactly. Especially against that defense. We talked about the same thing with the Jets last week, how they didn't trust Mark Sanchez to throw on that defense, and it cost them the game. And we said Dallas won't do that, and then they went ahead and did the same fucking thing.
Did that. I watched the entire second half. After Bailey kicked the field goal to make it 16-13, and then they got the Pats to punt, I was on cloud fucking 9.
Yep.
I'm like, we can eat up 3 minutes and give Brady no time at all, or even better, maybe score.
Yeah, they did it at the half.
Instead, what do they do? Yeah, instead, what do? They run three terrible running plays.
But actually, going even before that, the worst play was the third down at the end zone, with that ridiculous shovel pass he did to the running back who was already being tackled. What are you doing?
That was even worse.
Their
red zone. their red zone offense this year has been the play. What is Jason Garrett's problem? The red zone, his play calling has been absolutely horrible. Everyone says he had this great playbook of imagination. Now he's looking like Dave fucking Campo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been awful.
Yeah.
I
need to hire
really
Brian
feel
Schottenheimer. I'll hand deliver him.
Yeah, you know what? Tony Romo just needs to throw the ball. If he throws picks, he throws picks.
Yeah.
If he throws touchdowns, he throws touchdowns. But if you're not going to trust the guy in the fourth quarter to throw the ball, get rid of him.
Yeah, no, it's
let
garbage.
him go somewhere else where he'll flourish.
Yeah,
Enough's enough now.
It was a stupid offense they ran, and like I said, the difference was field goals versus touchdowns. They got a field goal when it mattered, and the Patriots got a touchdown when it mattered. There's
exactly, and that's what it came down to. This is my lock of the week. If I think they're going to come out angry. Sam Bradford's been wearing a boot all week, but he is going to play. The offensive line is bad. DeMarcus Ware is going to be looking for blood, and I think the Cowboys throttle. I think the streak is broken this Sunday of games the Cowboys have played in by 7 points or less. I think the Cowboys win big. They need to win big, and they got a stretch here against some very winnable games against bad offensive lines where this defense can dominate. I'm taking the Cowboys.
Yeah, they'll win this game. St. Louis, I think, will be better than they have been. They also need to win. Bradford's playing, apparently, even though he's got an ankle sprain.
Yeah, he is playing.
Brandon Lloyd now is with them, so they got rid of Mike Sims-Walker. So their offense is going to be a little bit better. What's plagued them is no one can catch the fucking ball. So Brandon Lloyd now, who I can't believe other teams didn't go get. I wish the Jets went and got him. A great receiver. So St. Louis, I think, will make it a game early. But if Dallas loses this game, stick a fork in them. But I don't believe that. They're still my pick to win the division. So I like Dallas here to get back to 3-3.
Okay. All right, and now our two primetime games, and these games are absolutely horrible. NBC Sunday night from the Superdome in New Orleans. The Saints coming off that tough loss on the road to Tampa, hosts the Colts. Maybe they thought this was a good game in the beginning of the year.
Obviously, but because they thought they were going to Manning.
But when they made the schedule, Peyton Manning's neck was having issues.
Yeah, but they didn't know he'd be out for the year. No.
But anyway, the Saints are going to win this game handily. Whether Peyton's leg is oatmeal or not, he had surgery to get the leg to take care of the torn meniscus and all that. But the Saints win this one easily.
Yeah, I agree, no doubt.
Yeah. Okay. And finally, Everbank Field Monday night in Jacksonville. Why? How the hell do the Jaguars get a home game on Monday night? What the hell is that?
They weren't even good last year. Monday night, ESPN is just being dicked over for going in and stealing that package. They never get good games. They never get good games. When's the last good Monday night game we've had? It's been a long time. Sunday night gets better games than they do.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the Cowboy Bills game. Obviously because my team was in it, but I mean, there've been a few, but not a lot.
Yeah, but that wasn't a good game going in. The Bills. I mean,
no, not at all. It just ended up being a good game. But
I mean,
anyway,
when's the last good game they had? Like, you look at it and say, "This is going to be a fun game." They're very rare.
Yeah, they don't get They haven't had Pats Jets in a few years, right? I don't think so.
No, they usually are on Thursday, if anything.
Yeah. Anyway, the Jaguars host Baltimore, and the Ravens win this one easily.
Yeah,
the defense is playing great. Yeah, there's no way Jacksonville wins this game.
Okay.
So there's your Week 7 picks.
Yep.
We hope you enjoy them. My PSC and I a lot of disagreements, and right now he has a 1-game lead on me. So we could see very different standings next week.
Yes, we'll see. Interesting. Very like you said, very split in the middle. So all right, we're running definitely pretty long. So let's go.
Yeah.
As I said, we're going to be recording Royal Rumble 1994 early this week. So I'll have the thread up tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed these headlines. We had a lot to talk about, a lot to vent about. Hope you guys dug it. So keep the feedback coming. We love you all, and we'll be back with Royal Rumble 1994, and we'll talk to you this weekend. So as always, save a Ram, ride those Cowboys.
Peace.
And it thrills like the horns on my Silverado grill. And I buy the bar, double round a crown, and everybody's getting down in this town. Ain't never gonna be the same. 'Cause I saddle up my horse and I ride into the city. I make a lot of noise, 'cause the girls, they are so pretty. Riding up and down Broadway on my old stud Leroy, and the girls say, save a horse, ride a cowboy. Everybody says, save a horse, ride a cowboy.